What is up, everybody? How are you doing? YouTube. Let's do this. So tonight we're having an impromptu. We have Golden Auctions, two huge PMG sets ending on Golden Auctions in the next 20 minutes to an hour. And well, why don't I know exactly when these auctions are ending? For those of you that don't know, on Golden Auctions, it's not like on eBay where you can just snipe with some epic, amazing accuracy, toss that high price right in the last few seconds. On Golden Auctions, what does occur is that if they feel like there's a bit of a bidding buzz, they extend and add another 20-minute to 30-minute time. I think it's 25 minutes. They add another 25 minutes. They reset the clock to then instigate more bidding. So it's very much like an auctioneer stalling at a live auction. If you've ever gone to an auction at an auction house, you got that auctioneer with the fast talk. Like he he'll just keep that auction going. So what we got here tonight is we got two huge sets. Actually, I think three. I think there's a bronze set as well. We have three huge sets. We have actually the bronze one ends tomorrow. We have the red 2017 Fleer Ultra Marvel Spider-Man, Precious Metal Gems. Oh, I got my button here, Marvel Madness. Welcome, bud.
Hey, how's it going?
I hear a bit of an echo.
Yeah, hold on. I'm trying.
Yeah, so we got. I'm going to mute you there. We got the red Precious Metal Gems, which are absolutely beautiful for this set. We got Iron Man, Captain America. All of the premier characters are showcased here on the first slide. The grades, we can look at these. We got a few 7s. We got a few 8s. We got Spider-Man in a 9, which is huge. Wolverine with a 9, which is huge. And we also got Spider-Gwen, which I have that card actually up here in the case as an 8. I mean, these are gorgeous. And right now, and this is the entire set, full set, hard to put together at this point, very pricey to put together at this point. If you were to kind of try to put this together on your own from scratch at this point, it would be an extremely expensive endeavor, especially to get them all PSA graded. So we got... let me see if I'm going to try to see if Marvel Madness can, if his audio is working. Oh, he left. He'll come back, I know, for sure. Yeah, and he's back. Oh, we got a special guest. We got Spidey Jew in the house as well, coming from a hotel in an undisclosed location.
Yeah, undisclosed location for sure. How's my audio?
Well, I appreciate you joining.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you, yes. Can you hear me okay?
You're coming through loud and clear, my friend.
Oh, man. This is so exciting. Now,
I'm in a hotel lobby, so if it gets loud or something, I'll mute, okay?
Yeah, exactly. Whatever hooligans come in from the Cheesecake Factory at 10 o'clock at night,
Yeah, that's exactly right.
We were talking behind the scenes a little bit about the set, right? And red versus blue, which one's doing better? We got red going on at 56 thou. We got blue, which is getting a lot of extended bids at 120,000. Spidey G, where do you think they're going to end? Sorry.
It just hit the 120 again.
Yeah.
So I pegged the blue at 140 and the reds at 80. So where are they at right now?
That was great. Blues at 120, reds at 56.
What's up, Joshua?
I kicked him out until he's going. I kicked him out just a little bit because he's getting to his crow's nest.
Good for him.
We all have our Saturday night crow's nests from our family.
Hey, what is this? What are the purples doing? The singles.
So purples are ending in 2 days, so there's still plenty of time on these. We got 2 days on these, and right now they're at about 3,000. They're all at about 3. We got Kid Nova. He always looks like such a child in this one for some reason to me. We are also having an interesting conversation about the importance of artwork on a lot of these PMGs in the 2017. And to you, what are some of the big hits in the PMGs for 2017?
Yeah, I mean, hands down, both Spideys. I really like that Black Widow. Sorry, I know it's loud.
That's fine.
That Black Widow is one of my favorites. Iron Man's amazing. Venom is amazing. That's the best Venom PMG in my opinion. Spider-Gwen is probably in my top 3 behind the 2 Spider-Men. The Iron Man seems to be really hot. Like people really seem to pay a premium for him.
I'm surprised they're not showcasing the Miles right on the front on the first slide. I don't even see the image of it. Let's see, where is he? They're hiding him somewhere.
Yeah, there he is down at the bottom. I think they're not in order because he's number 50.
You know what? They have him in order of grade. This last one here's a 6.
What is the Spidey?
He's a 7.
The Miles.
He's a 7.
Miles is a 7. Wow, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, these are 7s. Then we got 8s in this row, 8s, and then this is actually a really great way for them to showcase the value here, especially organizing them by grade. I think is really smart.
Silk is special in here too.
Yes.
Carnage, I'm just not a Carnage guy that much, but it's not a bad Carnage.
Well, his feet look a little decapitated, and one of them looks kind of like it's foreshortened a little oddly, You
would notice.
Yeah, it just looks a little bit like he's unstable, right?
I would have loved a better Kingpin, personally.
Oh, I got Neo on the stream. We got Marvel Guy. Thanks, guys. This is awesome. What a great stream. I'm gonna hide the banner there as well because that's not helping.
I do like your banner there.
Thank you. All right, isn't the banner nice? We're talking about how on the red PMGs, Golden has organized these 2 slides here in a staggering pyramid of PSA grading. So we have here at the bottom, we have, is it Moreland? Moreland is a 6. And then we have 7s creeping up to 8s, creeping up to 9s are right here at Jack-O-Lantern and at Kitty Pryde. And then no 10s.
Peter Parker Spider-Man's a 9, correct?
Peter Parker Spider-Man is, okay, he's probably on this next slide. Yeah, where's he at? Let's see. He's a 9, yes.
That's important. The other graded sets that have sold previously, Spider-Man did not have the best grade.
Yeah, artwork-wise, we were talking about artwork a little bit earlier. Yeah, you are right in that Black Widow looks amazing. Iron Man looks amazing. That Venom is awesome. I love how the Miles Morales and the Spider-Gwen, they almost look like they're partnering. Like the pose and the way they're showcased really feels complementary to each other. Having those 2 side by side should be, I think, every collector's goal. Anybody can jump in and say anything. We don't have any. I'm not trying to showcase. I know we have a lot of people, but everybody feel free to say what you want.
Nobody's here about shy about talking, I don't think.
It's just a little late, and it's a Saturday night. Does anybody have any outrageous guesses on where they think these 2 sets are going to land on Golden tonight, price-wise? Let's start with Marvel Guy.
I wouldn't be surprised if I really expected the blues to be over 200,000, to be honest with you. And the reds, I think they both double from here. That's what I thought going in, where they would be.
Yeah, that would be amazing. Let's be honest. Neo, what do you think?
Not a big set value guy, so I really don't know how to throw a number at these. I think they go up a little bit more. I don't think the blue gets to 200. Well, I don't think the red gets to 100.
Let me dig into your point there. So what you're saying is that honestly, you might think these would do better even if they been split and spread out over the next maybe few weeks or months.
I don't necessarily know that either. I'm just not super familiar with what the entire set values out at. I haven't dug in and looked at all the individual grades on and then comped everything out to get a good idea on it. It just depends, on if you think PMGs keep drastically going up every single week, then yeah, maybe you would have been better to trickle them out over time. But there is a premium sometimes put on a complete set, especially like this, where how many of these exist to just gobble them all up in one shot, and then you could always upgrade individual cards from there.
I think that Spidey being a 7's hurting it a little bit.
Sure, but you do got Miles as a 9 though.
Yeah, but as we were talking in the chat, that's like the least desirable of the Spider-Man, like, to be honest.
Yeah. This is the third version of Spider-Man, right?
It's not the premier card in that set. I don't think.
Yeah.
I think it's the Miles, and I don't think it's close, really.
And I honestly don't think overly cartooned artwork does as well as some of the more realistically shaded artwork when it's on a PMG. And I back that up with even this Daredevil, this Deadpool, that Spider-Man, even that Punisher. I feel like there's a certain oversimplification on the art that doesn't necessarily make them feel as rich and maybe as fancy. I don't know. Like the Iron Man,
this Iron Man is the best Venom artwork.
Yeah, this Iron Man is epic. I mean,
Iron Man's good too.
Yeah.
So, Stephen, but there is an argument though that the way the art is connected, it's all similar in its style to some degree, does add to this as a set.
Yeah, I do think. Let me just say this: I think if they stuck to a theme, if the actual art curators at Upper Deck stuck to a theme on the actual set per year and said this was going to be the 2017 somewhat cartoony Spider-Man set for PMGs, I think that would probably speak better to collectors than having a little bit of the eclectic kind of hodgepodge of ideas, and I think it also hurts the latest X-Men metal. Like, and I am worried about Spider-Man metal too.
What you're saying is in this set itself, the artwork is different on different cards. They're not all a certain style.
Actually am arguing that I actually think they're more similar in this set than the previous PMG sets. That there was an attempt to keep it somewhat similar. Now, Steven has a trained eye, so that's not fair.
Yeah.
I'm talking about to the untrained eye.
Okay, and I think that's fair. I mean, but you got you do got like this Nick Fury looks pretty much just like well, I can almost speak confidently that I imagine the artist actually had a reference model in there, like an actual human they took photographs of and then actually drew over the photograph to some degree.
Right.
That's a common technique. But then you have Moon Knight, who looks extremely cartoony, almost like he's from like Batman the Animated Series. Like that's like super cartoony, It's just a little different.
Well, look at the faces between Vulture and Fury. Just those two right there. So
Vulture,
to your point, if you look at Vulture, he's not half as realistic as that Fury.
Yes. And then Sable's super, super realistic. And again, I think all separated, they all look fantastic in a lot of ways, but I do think that the series, over time, as we start getting more and more PMG sets to collect in the next decade, I think a little bit more curation on the Upper Deck side would probably benefit their success as far as feeling like, I think, driving people to want to collect the entire set. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
I think specifically on these, anyways, at this price point, people aren't buying them for the art. Like, as long as the art's not terrible, you know what I mean? I don't think people are dropping 110K or 150K on a blue PMG set. I mean, the art's good for the artwork. You know what I mean? As long as it's not a disaster, they're buying it more for the status of it's a blue PMG set than they probably honestly care about the artwork on. Right. I mean, the artwork probably matters on what 10 cards in the set.
For sure. With what's happening at Marvel cards right now, it's not like it's the artwork that's driving it. It's the sports card investors, certainly.
I mean, it matters on the Spider-Man, it matters on the Gwen, it matters on the Silk, the Venom, the Cap, the Iron Man. You know what I mean? Like, probably 10 cards in this set, the artwork probably matters. I don't think people are fretting over Electro's artwork. You know
Although he does look super 80s in this one, like super 70s even. I love Prowler, more Morbius on this one. Silk looks amazing. Can anybody understand and explain to me why Kitty Pryde is even in this set?
No, because, well, I love Kitty Pryde, and I hate that her PMG is like, that's not great artwork in my opinion.
Right, looks like a high school photo or something.
Let's see where we're at. I'm just going to keep hitting refresh because Golden's super glitchy. I think I was watching a stream on Neo's when he was watching this on the last round with PMG sets. I remember you thought that it had ended, and then you could have swore it was over.
Yeah, they do this weird thing where it says bidding closes, and then it pops back up and extends.
Right. Yeah, interesting. I mean, we could be. I
So
mean,
what?
The weird part about the 2017 set is if the Wolverine was actually a good Wolverine artwork, I think it would level this set up a little bit. The fact that he's in a lumberjack outfit, it's not spectacular.
and his claws
And his
are off.
claws aren't visible.
Yeah.
I don't even know if that matters that much. If that's literally him just in his brown suit or blue and yellow suit, I think it takes the set up a notch.
Marvel guy, you were going to say something earlier.
I was just going to say, in regards to the different art styles and the different Spider-Men in here, Spider-Men, what is that?
I like Spider-Man.
So, so the Miles, while you're saying that the regular Peter Parker Spider-Man is the flagship, which is true, I think as time goes on and as different things come out, like Spider-Verse and different things like that, and Miles comes to the MCU, which is going to happen, I think that may, change a little. It's never going to overtake the flagship, Spider-Man, but
yeah,
I think that may be the number 2 card in the set before long.
Well, this is his rookie PMG. I mean, this is a huge card. I mean, this is huge. So,
Well, the sales, if you're looking at from a sales standpoint, sales would show that Miles has already surpassed Spider-Man in this set. His bronze is consistently outselling Spider-Man.
gosh.
I don't know that we've seen enough of the red sales or blue sales to really point to those. But the pattern and the bronze, Miles is outselling everybody.
Do any of you guys also? I play Russian roulette with that buy it now button sometimes, where I sometimes like that bronze PMG Miles that was 1,200 for a while. I was like, what I do is I have 2 monitors here. I'm an artist, so I sometimes just
Hi, Bill.
if I'm feeling, oh hey Bill, how you doing? I feel kind of like I kind of swing my mouse over and click, and if I hit the buy it now, it's clicked. And then the odds are I won't get it right on the dot, so I'm like, okay, it's kind of like Russian roulette, If I clicked it, I clicked it. If I missed it.
Stephen, I'm just going to guess that you're the only one that does that.
It's the only way to to add a little bit more excitement and impulse to
the red set did extend. It's up to 71K now.
The red set. So
yeah, why do I gotta hit refresh on my browser?
Yeah,
you shouldn't have it. It should auto update until.
I mean, I can see the clock counting down, but the bid doesn't update.
Yeah,
there is a
Golden's
really
weird, I hate why Golden. I fell into this trap a month ago when I live streamed over the Golden auctions, and then it took until like 2:00 in the morning to end because of this crazy 25-minute extended bidding that they do.
Right. Yeah, I mean, at this point, don't you think it should go to like 10 or 15 at the max?
Yeah, I feel like it should get shorter each advance and maybe cap at floor out at like 10 minutes or something.
Getting shorter would definitely mimic more of like a live auction, like a furniture auction kind of auctioneer kind of situation where you're getting shorter and shorter on those extensions.
Well, I mean, you would think that people know what they're going to bid before we ever get to this, like where their max is going to be, like they've made that decision. But I mean, I get some of these auctions on here. I mean, it end in the millions, and so people are making, really large financial decisions, and maybe that's why the 25-minute extended window is important.
Well, Golden's making the FOMO button really big, is what they're doing.
I can tell you what this Black Widow would be twice as interesting, I think, if they had zoomed it out a little bit. Because if you look at the back of her. Like you would have gotten her whole waist section in here. That would have looked pretty nice.
Well, Stephen, you point to, I think, one of the, like if the window was all the way full on that, I think it would be great. But they put that big fat metal logo on this one.
Yeah.
What's the Black Widow graded at? Is that a 9?
That's an 8.
It's an 8.
So here's So
I have one at a 9.
This one down here is a 6.
I was just curious because Curator in Houston today, he got a raw one for 900.
Gosh, I got the last good deal. I got the Red Gwen on eBay. I think it's an 8 or 9. It was about $1,000 about a month ago. That was right before I think the
slightly above that for mine. I think it's an 8.
Yeah. That was right before, after this, literally the next day. I feel like the entire 2017 Spider-Man set started just gaining momentum. Like I mentioned in the chat, did you guys watch that? The Card Boss did that. Why I'm collecting blue PMGs in November, October, November.
That was a long time ago. Yeah.
It wasn't. Yeah, it was. It was a different world ago as far as the
in Marvel time. It's a long time ago, right?
And his primary reason was he thought that those were going to be a little bit harder to find and a little bit easier, a little bit more boosted just by the exclusivity of it. But then, I think he retracted it about 2 months later, saying he couldn't go anywhere with that collection because it's practically impossible to find blue PMGs at this point. So he
at the time when he made the statement, he was correct.
Yes. And maybe in 2 months we're going to be talking about the bronzes like that. It's insane.
I think the bronze a little too often, just with them being 200.
Well, when I saw the red selling for 4,000 or 5,000, I gave up on the set.
You what? When you saw it sell for that, you what?
I'm sorry, I have a crowd of people walking by from the wedding.
I said when you said you saw it sell for 4,000 or 5,000, and then you something I couldn't hear. What
well, I was going to finish the set, but I need Hulk, I need Captain America, I need Wolverine, and I need Iron Man. Those are the 4 big ones that I have left. But if they're going to start selling those for 2,000 to 4,000 each, I'm probably not going to finish the set.
This eBay seller knows what he's doing with photography. I can tell you that right now. I've never seen a bronze look that beautiful.
Yeah, the people that scan the bronzes are making a huge mistake. Same with the patterns.
Yes.
I don't understand the popularity of using flatbed scanners for sports cards.
No.
Or for cards, not just sports cards, just in general.
Right.
I don't.
I mean, yeah,
at least not as your primary photo. If you want to put one up there, like really show the details, like the corners and stuff, that's fine. But that should not be your primary photo. I wouldn't be surprised if that went through an IG filter.
Possibly. Well, maybe this. But this seller, I mean, he's been, this was 1,000, then it was 1,200, then it was 1,400, then it was 1,600. Now he's been like really kind of. I don't know if maybe one of you is this one of you? I don't know.
What's the seller's name?
Spider-Man superhero.
I keep people keep asking me if that's that's me, but it is not me.
Mm-hmm.
No. You don't live in Medina, Ohio.
No, I don't.
I would love to know who that guy is because that guy lives about 30 minutes from me.
So if you bought that, you can just drive and pick it up.
Yeah, I'm about 30 minutes from him. If you look at his eBay selling page, it is every Marvel card ever created. He just has everything. Everything I've ever wanted and desired, he has. It's insane. It's absolutely insane.
Bizarro Neo. He's Bizarro.
He has so much stuff. I don't know where he got it all at.
We didn't get to get Bill's opinion on where he thinks these auctions are going to end.
Yeah. Oh, yes, Bill.
I mean, I honestly think the blue set could end at 180. And that would put the red around 90, 95, I guess.
So that's a question I've been wanting to ask, because this kind of carries over from what we were talking about in the IG chat. What do we think the gap or the multiplier is between the red and the blue here? Does the blue 2x the red, or do they finish closer together than one might suspect?
I think obviously in a set that's graded, the disparity of the grades, the mean, if you will definitely influence that. But if we're talking about it, if it's close enough, and the key characters are in the same ballpark, then I think it is 2x. I think that the numbering and the rarity is the primer.
I know if I was a buyer and had the money to buy both, I mean, I would pay twice as much for the blues as the reds. That's just me.
This is my take on it. I think it's very unlikely that the same buyers buying both.
No,
so
right.
You might get that red creeping up on the blue price, just because, again, you have a lot of people that want these at this very moment in time. They want them right now. They want them in the spring of 2022, and they want to see where they're going to go. And you could get, I think the 2x, I think you could probably do like a 1.2. Like this is going to go for like a 1. I don't know how to work that out fractionally, but I think it would creep above half quite a bit. I think the red finishes more than half.
Yeah, the blue. Like I think it's not 2x. I think it's
the
gap is closer than people want it to be.
Is this a proper? Is this what the blues look like in person?
Mm-hmm.
Do they look this aqua, like this kind of light blue, sky blue, or do they look a little deeper?
I've never had a blue, so I don't know.
Me neither. That's why I'm asking. Somebody-
No, I got
That's,
one.
Not a baller.
that's what they look like.
It looks about the same.
You're a wannabe Spider-Man superhero guy. You want this guy. This is you.
I like the pattern better than the bronze.
Really?
I'd say yes. I mean,
The pattern are more rare. Most likely. Justin, you could probably speak to that better. Pattern shorter printed than the bronze, I would have to imagine.
Yeah, I would say you have to be correct based on the numbers that, people who were around when that stuff was being opened on a regular basis would say, around 100, 120. So with bronze being 199, they're going to be more rare.
I just know they pop up less often because I'm always looking for Gwens of those, and they don't like the patterns rarely pop up compared to the bronzes.
Can you show your blue card again? Yeah, look, it's a little more sapphire than what these pictures definitely indicate.
Ken, I like that Spidey is not near his hobby room, so you and me can flex with impunity.
Oh wow, here we go.
We don't have to get like overflexed on.
Yeah. So
the funny thing is, my Gambit is over there, and he's the smallest one.
I just show and tell.
So the light blue color is the highlight. That's the kind of point I was making.
By the way, hey, real quick, Bill is a blue PMG right now. Look at that.
Yeah.
Bill, you should do that. You should stencil precious metal gems on your wall behind you.
Oh my gosh.
This top right corner, precious metal Bill.
Absolutely need to do that.
Oh my gosh, that is so good. I have so many.
Find the font, get the stencil.
You said show and tell. It makes me laugh. Like, I just made me think of the thing that we're basically like YouTube is basically just adult show and tell.
Right.
This one's at 5
Oh,
minutes.
that's true. It's absolutely true.
5 minutes on that. I don't know what to think about red versus blue. I do think the reds, I don't know, they look to me, they kind of are more
130 and 76 now. Refresh your browser.
The red one?
Yeah, blue extended for another 30 minutes. That's streaming over these is like a folly. Like, it sounds like really good. The first time I did it, I'm like, oh, this could be great. This will be fun. And the next thing I know, it's like 4 hours later, and we're still.
Yeah, I don't think our goal is to be here when it ends. It's more just to kind of talk about what people are thinking when they're throwing down this kind of money at this, right?
Well, I fell in the trap of like, I've been doing it for this many rounds. I need to stick it out now. You know what I mean? Because once you're 2 hours in, you're like, well, I got to see this through. And then chat's like, no, you got to keep going.
Yeah, I feel sorry for the sucker who was his first time following a golden auction to the end. He said, 10 o'clock, Eastern. I'll be there at the end.
That was my mistake. I started streaming at 10, and I quickly realized the error of my ways.
Well,
It's just like
Steven,
when you get a boxing match and it says it's at 10 p.m. and it doesn't really start. The main event doesn't start until
Right.
1 in the morning.
The Super Bowl
Right.
starts at 6.
right. Well, since Steven's hosting, he has to stay till the end. He didn't have a choice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm so obsessed with content. Like, I love watching you guys, and I love making this kind of content, and I honestly wouldn't mind doing it. It's weird. You guys are like my best friends right now. You barely know me.
Well, you're all the way on the West Coast too, so you can stay up and watch it.
Yeah, that's true. It's only 9 o'clock here, so I'm in Utah, so not quite the coast, but close.
The left side of the world.
I'm trying to Photoshop you a metal banner for your underneath your PMG. I'm gonna make you a PMG here while we're talking. But yeah, the Hulk one didn't the color match Hulk, the green Hulk, go for some pretty good money a month back? The green 2017.
Yeah, that was kind of an anomaly, though. I mean, and Justin can speak to this, but he's talking to somebody. But I think somebody was trying to complete a set on that one.
Mm-hmm.
Did I hear my name?
Yeah, on that green Hulk that went nuts a little while back.
Yeah.
Do we think that was an anomaly? Somebody finishing a set or something, or a rainbow?
Well, there was a couple of things going on. It looked odd because of the fact that the Captain America same grade, same set finished drastically lower, but it turns out that there was a glitch at Golden on that, and Golden had to correct it because the winning bids didn't get put in. But the argument why the Hulk went for a lot of money, what, 28,000 or something like that, 22,000, was because it was a color match primarily, and that week the fact that Hulk was possibly going to get another movie was also announced that week. So those were the reasons why people thought it went so high.
How much do you think the MCU? I know. Especially last year, it was a really big motivator for a lot of content connections between value and like interest in the cards. Like everybody was pointing to the MCU films being like a really big motivator. I understand that how that definitely influenced everybody's overall awareness of Marvel. But do you feel like upcoming films really are going to boost specific cards at this point?
I don't know that we've seen it a ton like we have on the comic book side.
Right, Spidey and I were talking about this the other day that the comic spec is the kind of the needle on the paper of the Richter scale before the earthquake of the actual price bump anywhere else. And he was saying that he sees cards ultimately down the road being the one that lead the charge in that regard. That comics will follow the spec set by cards. And obviously the spec comes from the same place. It comes from, movies. And I mean, really comic stories don't drive spec anymore. There's no hearing about something's going to happen to a certain character in a book and it affecting the prices. It's Captain America is not going to die again.
Exactly.
That was it. That was the one time where a pending comic story actually, had shockwaves throughout the market. But that's not going to happen again. It's the movies. They're setting it, and a movie coming, followed by the success or failure of a movie. Like if somehow Marvel takes the baton, Disney takes the baton, and gives us another terrible Fantastic Four movie. And then all this buzz that we're seeing, Surfer, Galactus, Doom, the family, it goes right down with them.
I
completely agree.
I think also where it's going to matter a great deal, and very well said, Bill, is with these characters that we don't really know and the masses have really no knowledge of. We'll add Moon Knight into that as an example of what's about to happen. But imagine the more obscure X-Men when the MCU gets a hold of them. I think that'll drive values up on those type of characters, which are really, really well known characters. For Marvel cards, they're going to be doing well anyways. I don't see it being a huge driver.
1 second, let's do this. There we go. That's as good as I can do in a few minutes.
Yeah. 1 out of 49.
1 out
of 49.
The alpha.
Hold on, put it back and let Bill smile so I can get a photo.
Okay. Sorry, I just kicked him out of the stream on accident. Here we go. 1 sec. I'm new to this. Here we go.
Spidey's got to be a bronze.
Yeah, Spidey's definitely a bronze. He's a silver fox.
He's got the tan background there.
Sorry, 1 second. I'm the worst.
Yeah,
there we go.
Now, Bill, give us your action pose. Throw your hands
give us a whole pose. Exactly. Yeah.
Now,
what would the high evolutionary be doing? It's high evolutionary pose.
That's exactly right. That's so good.
I'm gonna share it in the group chat so they know what they're missing.
Yeah, exactly. Get them in there.
Neil, are you used to having this much fun?
Always and forever.
Man. What are we at? Where are we at with these? Let's get the. Is the bronze set owned by the same owner? It is, right?
Is the what?
Is the bronze set that's going up tomorrow, is that owned by the same person?
Oh, I don't know about that.
Oh, they're not PSA, huh?
Yeah, they're not creative.
And you think
from what I understand, the Golden will recommend whether or not to send something for grading. Like if they think if they see the condition of the cards and they think it'll do, underperform if it's graded, they'll say, you probably shouldn't grade this.
They don't submit them for they don't pay for that, right? And take that.
No. It comes out of the seller's end, which I'm sure they get a premium on. They get a group submission rate at PSA, and say that we're sending it Super Express, and they really get $100 a card, which is fine. They're entitled. They're doing this, and they promote it, and they have the platform, so they should be able to make theirs.
Charge a premium.
I think I'd be very surprised if this red goes over 100. I think I would be surprised.
I mean, think about that. It's 50 cards, so then divide it out. I mean, that's still pretty cheap per card.
Yeah, I mean,
I would be more surprised if the blue got over 200 than the red getting over 100.
I think you've got to think about, you know, what's the Spider-Man worth, what's the Miles worth, and then even what's the Gwen worth, and then add those up, and then you're getting all those other cards for the remainder.
It's at 140.
You just bump.
Did it just go up? I think it did, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it was at 130.
Man alive.
Mm.
I just love
That's
to
a
know,
big-
like,
I think
I would think that people that have this much bling, this much cash to throw at stuff like this aren't happy to be sitting around watching a computer for 4 hours. You know,
They're
like,
paying somebody to do it.
Their assistants do it.
I guess so.
100%. The people bidding on this are not the ones actually bidding on it.
It's like
they have a buyer.
It's like Mr. Peterman and Elaine with the golf clubs on Seinfeld. You know, she's
so. About 3 weeks ago, was talking to some people who are more of a buyer of PMGs right now than sellers, and they said that the blues were going to go to 240, and that the reds would go to 150. I don't see it, or maybe it wasn't 150, maybe it was 120. Anyways, it was a dumb number. I kind of dismissed it in my head immediately because, you know, I was thinking 80 and 140 would be the numbers. I don't think it should be a true, you know, double multiplier because the reds have done so well for this set. But if it ends up going higher than 140 and 80 for both sets, I mean, it's really going to send the market even more than it already is.
Mm-hmm.
Can I just say I love that purple anti-venom?
Yeah, that is really cool.
I mean, obviously, I really like the purple anti-venom. But yeah.
Did you just hold it up? Do you own it?
No, I have the blue that I just showed you, but I would really love that purple sitting right next to it.
Well, you need to get in touch with Full Metal Jim Spencer. He's got all of them.
Yeah, I've talked to him, and his collection makes me sick.
So somebody asked about the hobby box. The retro box, 2015 retro box. That's at 4,000. There's 2 days left.
One of those just sold.
There was
8K?
one that sold on eBay just a
Yeah.
couple days ago, right?
I think it went for 8.
Yeah.
Yeah, I ran the cost and analytics on that a little bit. Like that's like there's only
Steve.
there's Spider-Man. You know, you have Spider-Man PMGs in there that could make it obviously a huge hit. Maybe Blue Wolverine and above is maybe a big hit. You know, meaning blue, green, and, you know, gold. Obviously, any character gold, but besides Spider-Man and Wolverine, I'm not sure who's in that in 2015 that's commanding a $10,000 box price.
That's more about the rarity of the sealed box than it is about the content.
Right. That's what I was saying in our chat. So I'm sorry, Justin. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say if there's a green gambit in there, and this may sound odd, but that's been one of the hardest cards for people to find to complete the set.
I heard those are just kind of falling out of the sky on people's heads. Isn't that what
I heard?
So we're speaking to the issue. Where are they? We've seen some. We've seen a gold, a green, a red. I don't know. Do we see a blue? But I mean, I know you have a blue. I'm talking about from Upper Deck.
Yeah, no, there was a rainbow. They sent out a whole rainbow.
Well, seen out the whole rainbow, but
so
I'm
you're
telling
saying the gambits in particular are harder to get?
in the 2015 set, yes. I promise you, if anyone listening has a green gambit PMG, let me know. You can get more than what this box will sell for.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And by the way, I sold mine for $7,000.
Oh, you sold? I didn't know you sold your green.
Mm-hmm. I sold mine. Well, I sold mine in October to pay for my X-Men Metal purchase.
Gosh, if we could go back, Justin.
Hey, I had a lot of fun.
It was fun for sure, but EPAC is the devil's folly.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Okay.
Hey,
I haven't
real quick. When I sold it for $7, that was the week after it had finished an auction for $4 something. So it was a strong offer.
Right.
Mine's in the mail to me actually. So I had a huge. I kind of I don't want to brag, but I was just so excited. So I told a lot of you guys, like, I did hit a collector that is somewhat out of the game right now, and he had an idea that the prices were going up, but he did sell me a lot of PMGs for October prices, which I'm pretty happy about, to be honest. I didn't think that was going to be something that I wandered into backwards, anytime soon, but it was all 2015s. I mean, I sent him multiple thousands, many thousands of dollars, to be honest, but it's a lot of PMGs and they're all good ones. So it does happen, right? Those little, you can find those kind of situations still, but I don't know much.
Speaking about the boxes, we were looking at somebody had the sealed boxes. Somebody had all three of them, the 13, the 15, and the 17. As far as one of the boxes that I would like the 17 box the most. I know the closed sealed value isn't going to be the same, but there's so many insert sets that are so popular in 17 right now that I mean, I'd really like 17.
But less PMGs per box, correct?
I don't know, the same.
I heard there was one per box.
Yeah, it's just one.
13 and 15, it actually comes out to 1.5 per box.
Oh, is it?
Oh, wait. I thought 13 and 15 were 1.5 per medium box, inner box.
No, I thought it was per hobby box, but I could be mistaken.
Okay, so on the back we could probably read it. I've read this 100 times because I've been like, it has a different term for a master box, right? So it does say 1.5 per master box. What is a master box?
Isn't that a
master box?
This is a master box, huh? By Upper Deck's terms.
What's the difference?
Other than pack when you open it, there's two boxes on the inside.
Oh, okay.
That's why I was confused. I didn't know because I'd never heard that term before at master box. So I was like,
that's an Upper Deck.
I don't think we're allowed to use that term anymore. It's the main bedroom.
I'm surprised you don't see as many single boxes, like inner boxes, being sold then. Because
are they wrapped? Are the inner boxes wrapped, or are they just like a loose flap?
Oh, maybe they're. Yeah, okay.
I can't remember if they're, but I think they're both sealed, and you have to cut them open as well. Kind of like the Star Wars inner boxes. They're built. The Masterworks is built the same.
Yeah, because if the inner boxes weren't sealed, you wouldn't want to rip it and sell them separately.
But it's really cool because
if you hit a PMG in one, then you'd want to sell the other wrapped. Obviously,
that's why you would never buy. That's why you never buy loose packs.
Right.
But it gives you the feeling like you're actually opening two boxes, like you're getting a bonus
for $8,000. It should.
I know.
For $8,000, it should feel like a case. So 140 and 76.
I'm gonna refresh here. Let's see what we got.
It's still the same 140 and 76.
Yeah. Do people have good experiences working with Golden? Do any of you know people that have actually sold on Golden and enjoyed the processes? And I know one bad situation I know of, obviously Ian, but yeah. With those eBay prices just surging, I don't know. Well,
no, those purples they're one numbered out of 5, right? Yeah, out of 5.
Out of 5. These things are like unobtainium. I mean, I don't know how anybody. You're not really. I mean, you're just going for you want that one character that you love, I guess. You're not really trying to set it or anything. That's impossible.
I mean, the Silk Collector at one point had 3 of them.
Did he really? Huh.
So if these two sets go for over a combined 275, I'm gonna be moving my my Sinister 6 tomorrow morning.
Oh man, I was gonna ask you guys about. I mean, feel free to no comment this, but like, at what point is your do you try to at least make some kind of transition play towards exiting to some degree? I mean, I think especially the five of us in this call, I think we do have a little bit more investment mentality when it comes to this as well, to some degree. I mean, we do have our personal favorites, and there are cards that we never let go of. But as far as like, cashing out today to buy more tomorrow,
Well,
right?
Steven, I can speak to this to some degree. I've helped move a lot of collectors' cards, right? And the moment the money gets to the place where it actually changes their trajectory in life, then you sell. I mean, and you can, people can say what they want to say. Well, then that makes you not a collector. Well, I mean, when you literally have a guy call me and say, "Hey, if you can move these for me, I'm going to pay for my daughter to go to college." Like, that's a big deal to most families. That's not a small thing,
Right.
where they don't have to use student loans and borrow money, or just say good luck to their daughter. So I think that's when you sell is as a collector. Okay, if you're an investor, anytime you X your money, then you want to move, obviously. But for a collector, I think that's definitely it.
I'm really looking forward to getting the vibe and seeing what it's like in Atlanta at that live show. I mean, I've been to shows, but most of them are really, really sports oriented, and I think this is going to be not as much, but it's going to be more like a Dallas or like a national type thing because there's so many more things. I think it's going to be really interesting, especially so many of us are going to see what kind of vibe there is in regards to that at that show. I think that's going to be some good information.
Now, have you guys attended any kind of large national comic conventions and what? I mean, do you have any experience?
I've been to the National Sports Card Convention, but not.
So, have any of you been to the San Diego Comic-Con?
I have not.
See, that's interesting. That's super interesting to me because I have gone, more than 12 times, and what I know about the Atlanta show is that it's very, unless I'm remembering it being a wrong show. I thought it was like a very heavy cosplay show, really fun, energetic, pop culture extravaganza of a lot of people's favorite types of, of their favorite types of IPs, franchises,
For the Atlanta show you're talking about?
Yeah, yes.
No, it's more sports card heavy. This is only the second time they've ran the Culture Collision. I mean, there might be other shows in Atlanta that you're thinking about.
Okay.
It's not a con, it's Collision.
It's not what?
It's not a con. It's Culture Collision, not Culture Con.
Okay.
That might be the difference. Hey, Steve.
I mean, there is more stuff than just cards. I mean.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm coming in here.
Go ahead, Spotty. I'm sorry.
Purples do look good. Hey guys, Flip and Steve, what's up? You guys look familiar. Same cast, different channel. Doctor Strange. I would love a new retro set. Yep. Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange, Bob Marley. Doctor Strange.
The first Culture Collision show last summer got put in a weird spot because it was the same weekend as Dallas, and it was a week before the National.
Right.
So it got put in a really weird niche of no one really knew what to do with it in terms of attendance. So I think it really hurt it. But this one seems to be getting a lot of buzz. I mean, pretty much every content creator that I've ever known or met is going to this thing. Now, whether that actually plays out to like show floor goodness, I don't know, but there'll be a lot of cameras.
Now, card-related content creators. Card-related. Both. Comics and card.
Marvel cards and sports cards.
Okay.
Well, they're going to have 500
I don't know
tables.
if there's a massive comic presence at this show. I think they will be there, but I think to call it like beyond just a couple tables would probably be a stretch based off of what the vibe that I've heard from the previous show.
Yes.
Anyway.
And I agree with Pancake here. And this is kind of where I've been super confused about the entire event because Comic-Cons are not a good place for trading cards.
This is much more of a sports card show than anything else with other things mixed in.
I've only had one
shoes
good experience.
And whatnot.
I've only had one good experience with trading cards at a comic convention, and that was in 2004 with my Jim Lees. Great source for comics. Yes, I was going to go. Yes. Well, that's interesting because I was definitely thinking about going, and now that I know it's really going to be card centric, I that sounds super interesting.
I'm sure there will be comic books there, but I don't think it will be like an overwhelming presence of comic books. There'll probably be like a couple tables that have it, maybe more. I could be wrong, but it is definitely going to be focused on sports cards with other stuff spread in.
You know, I know we're watching these auctions, but I have a question, if you don't mind, and you can humor me. But what do you fellows recommend to lots of people that want to attend possibly this culture collision and have a few really valuable PMGs and are planning on going, but don't quite understand the how to, like, you know, flash your bling at a convention, you know, like how do you just walking around kind of being like, hey, you want to buy a PMG, you know, right?
Yeah, around your neck. I mean, what's your goal? Are you walking in there to sell it, trade it, just show it off?
I think a lot of people could be looking to move a card, you know.
Know your numbers, know what you're into it for, know what the current comps are, or a similar comp on PMGs. There might not be a direct comp,
right?
So know, like, if you have a PSA 7, know what, and no 7s have sold, know what the 8s have done, know what the Raws have done. If you're Raw,
I guess my question is a little bit more of a physical question. Like, if you have the card, how are you looking for someone that's interested to buy it?
You're gonna walk the show floor, and if you see Marvel in someone's cases, I would probably start with those people because they're more likely to be buyers.
81 on the red.
81 on the red.
Or just look for the great curator or Steve or Kenny Fornos or any of us. Or
right.
But that would be my starting point. If I was walking up and down the show floor aisles, I'm not gonna flash a red Miles PMG to every table that I walk to. I'm gonna start with the ones that already have Marvel stuff in their case.
Yeah, I'm with Neo. You almost want them to show you theirs before you show them yours. In a sense.
Justin, you naughty boy.
You know, don't show the goods too soon.
I mean, that's also been my experience in that's why it's best to get a table. Because when you set up, your stuff is all out there. It's visible. It's, you know, people know what you have. It also draws other people to you that have similar types of items. Instead of you got a case, and every time you go to a new table, you got to open your case and, hey, look at this. And, you know, it is a lot easier to buy in, obviously sell, when you have a table and you're set up.
You're gonna have to beat me to that X-Men.
I was gonna say, I think he's hazing you there, Neo. Definitely.
No, we both want one. That's not hazing. It's on both of our radars. We talk about it all the time.
Okay, well, tell me what your price range is.
Uh-oh. I'll talk to you after Atlanta if I have money left,
exactly.
Or if I have a bunch of money, if I sell a bunch of
dollars or PMGs, like, is there?
Yeah, what are we talking? Are we talking PMGs or?
No, I'm talking the comics. You know, comics are just comics are cards for, like, giants, like Hagrid. You know,
I personally, you know, I've gone round and round with this on various live streams. I would prefer to have the comic over the PMG 9 times out of 10.
No, I think so. That is. Do you mind me saying something that's spoken like a true noob to comics to some degree? I tell you this: there's so many of these books, man. Like, I know it looks like the on the pop counts, like, they're low. I'm telling you, there's so many of these books that are not graded, and they're never going to be graded. Like, you have to be a little bit aware about the fact that there are a lot of books out there. In fact, the majority of them are never going to be graded. They're going to be in collections until people turn to dust, you know, on their deathbed. Like, so
I view it more as I think they are safer long term in regards to prices.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, the PMGs definitely, you know, that number is super special compared to, you know, some of the thousands of books.
But Neo, you're primarily only dealing with graded comics, yeah?
100%. I only buy graded.
I mean, I just saw a post. Just someone posted did you see that? I can't remember who it was. I just saw it on my YouTube feed where somebody showed a picture of their 50 Hulk 181s. You know.
Oh yeah, it was Comic Book Investments.
Yes.
Yeah, I've had him on the channel before.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm just saying there are a lot of books out there,
but you have to remember the demand for comics is way higher.
Right. There's a lot of old timer collectors that never are interested in slabbing, and there's probably more old timer collectors than there are young collectors that have serious collections, and that's my point, I guess. Is
I just feel that the comic floor is higher than the PMG floor is. Like, well,
Okay.
if you're spinning long term,
yeah,
because we don't know what the PMG floor ceiling is yet. It's too new.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I've cautioned against this multiple times. This all could come crashing down. It's not going to go back to nothing, but these could cut from current day value by 50%, and it would still look, if you're looking at a 365-day time horizon, like they're still way up.
Yeah,
Like if you went back to January of last year. So
I get it. No, I get it. You're right.
we don't know yet on PMGs. Is it the next great thing? Like, are Marvel cards officially here to stay, or is this a short-term bubble and it is going to come back down to some degree? The fact that they're numbered protects them a little bit.
Yes,
But
yes.
other than, I mean, even in the sports card side of things, rare numbered stuff, some of it crashed right back down again. Not back to where it was, but it pulled back.
And I have listened to a lot of your videos about a lot of, there are sports card collectors getting into comics, certainly. And it's not just stopping with these PMGs and these, these Marvel cards. I get it. It's just it's the count point that I sometimes dispute. Is that
I think I just believe in this, that the comic book market's been around for 50 to 60 years at this point. So I just feel safer there than I do in the emerging PMG market, the volatility of the emerging PMG market.
That's so true.
And I could very well be wrong on that. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, it's going to be interesting. Is anybody back to that the other conversation? Does anybody else have an exit strategy in regards to this year, or is anybody thinking of moving? And again, I want to. I don't like all the caveating around. Well, this is why I'm selling, and it's even in regards to like explaining that it's for your family or for your daughter's college. It's nobody's business why you're selling your stuff. And honestly, like usually I trust that most people love this stuff, even if they're just buying it for somewhat of an investment. They're still probably going to devote a portion of that funding towards more cards that are coming out in the future years that are going to be at a lower price point. Like I don't like the shaming that goes on, like let people move what they have, and that's fine.
Deep down, we all PC cash.
That's the quote.
It's funny. Steve in the chat said the other day, right? I forget where I saw he said this, but he said, "I got a really good offer on this card, and I'm gonna sell it, but I feel bad I don't want to sell it. Now somebody wants to buy it, I don't want to sell it, kind of thing." And I think Justin had echoed that before. He's like, if somebody came up and made this really strong offer on this card, I should sell it, but I don't want to see it walk away. It's harder to sell these than just a picture of it.
Oh man,
it's because there's a good chance it's not going to come back to you.
Right.
I mean, I get it. I've gotten attached to I can't even tell you how many things that I bought, never intending to keep long term, and all of a sudden it sits on your desk for a week, and you're like, well, I mean, I don't really need to move that. And that's not stuff that's rare as PMGs are. Like I'm talking about stuff that there's 600 or 700 of in a PSA 10. It's not like it's rare, but it's not like insanely rare. And even something like that, I'm like, well, I can sell something else. I don't need to move that one.
I would love if somebody actually published some like questions you ask yourself to to decide whether you want to keep this collectible or not, because I'm in the same boat. Like that, I just the blue and red Gambit that I just got. Again, they're en route to me. I should get them on Monday. Like when I first saw the photo, I was like, oh, well, I can buy those and flip them and pay for this whole thing. This whole set. I could just sell those 2 cards because I don't really have that much interest in Gambit. But then
whichever one of those you don't want, you just let me know, okay?
But then this little bug starts kind of whispering in my head, like, well, that's a special card. And I maybe that little bug sounds a lot like Spidey Jew. And he's saying, that's a special card, man. That's a special card. And I'm thinking, that's a special card. I can't let go of that. Like, what am I thinking?
Now, Stevie, I've never seen a Marvel card I don't like. So don't listen to me.
I know. But it's hard to let them go once you have them. And then, man, it's hard, because I threw down some serious cash on this set. And I probably need to just kind of recoup the cost, and that's the smart move, and kind of keep moving and keep swimming and have more money to fight another day. But
you never go broke taking a profit.
Well, I think Steve did a smart thing. He bought that collection and he's selling, a bunch of the pieces, some of the pieces off. And once he gets to, into the black, then he's just all gravy. The rest of it, he can do what he wants. So it's a really smart move on his part.
You flip to buy the stuff you really want.
I wanted to
Correct.
respond to Flippin' Steve. He's the 135. I recommend this comic, Doctor Strange number 169. This was Strange Tales, but then they flipped the title to Doctor Strange. So this is the first
He has that one.
titled Doctor Strange book.
He has that one.
Oh, I'm sure he does.
Yeah, I don't know what grade he has it in,
but it's nice because it's really that classic Doctor Strange. He's got the eye of Yagamoto. Is that what it's called? Right on his neck. It's awesome. We got a lot of comments here.
Steven, we're getting down to 4 minutes on the blue set, I believe.
Let's. I'm probably gonna hit refresh and it'll say 0. Here we go. 4 minutes.
You're gonna watch it.
People are
You're gonna watch it go to. You're gonna watch it go to 160. Is what you're gonna do. So I think that's what's gonna happen.
To Steven's point, Marvel has only been now. Notice I read whatever comment that says to Steven's point. Marvel has only been popular big in 2-time realms.
Figuring out this host thing real quick.
In the 90s and now. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Like, it is interesting that these PMGs came in. Yes, the MCU was kind of coming online in that time, but the Marvel Comics especially was kind of in a rut. I
think Justin explained that really well on one of the lives the other day about when Marvel went bankrupt and all that stuff. That's caused a void.
Listen, I love the MCU and stuff, but at some point in time, they're either going to screw it up or people are going to get fatigued with it. I mean, it could be 10 or 15 years from now before that happens.
I was going to say, people have been saying superhero fatigue I've been hearing it for 10 years.
You know what, though? That kind of speaks to my point earlier. I don't think the success of all of this is reliant on constant stream of hits and success. Like, you look at, the fan base that Star Wars, like the entire Endgame saga, the entire Infinity War saga is going to have touched so many young kids, for so many years to come. Like, everybody's going to remember that moment in time, just like we remember Indiana Jones and Star Wars and other huge franchises. I just don't think it requires a constant, that medical term with a drip, a constant drip into your, if you're plugged in, you got a
IV
morphine, like a morphine drip,
morphine
I just don't think you constantly need that to keep this stuff afloat, because the fan base has been built and that'll never fade. Unprecedented. Yeah, I really feel that. We're at 2 minutes 21 seconds. We got, and we
Statements
all know this
like that are when you need to be careful. I really feel like it would be hard for things to crash. I heard that so much in comic books last year and so much in sports cards last year.
Oh, I mean the interest in the Marvel characters as a whole, not necessarily the.
No, I'm talking about Marvel Madness's comment there that the way things are going, it would be hard for things to crash. I just think that's just
right.
Yeah. Just always be careful. Always protect yourself when it comes to
stuff.
Don't overextend yourself. Don't.
We said that in 29.
Disney Marvel solid disagree. Disney's definitely weak right now.
Well, I mean, look, it's going to crash when these things reach a number.
Well, as long as more people keep coming into the hobby and there's more demand than there is supply, then it's always going to end up being economics.
The part that we don't know yet is how many people are buying these because they actually want to own them, and how many people are buying these because they just want to make the money off them and then leave the second that they make their money.
Right.
And then your buyer pool starts to dry up.
And there's a price point where everybody wants to sell. And that, if it reaches that, which is what we don't know what it is based on the amount of demand coming in into what Nia's saying, but if it reaches that and everybody wants to sell at the same time, that's when it chases to the bottom.
I'm not doing a good enough job on my random clicking of this internet browser. Just like, all right, here we go.
Full Metal Gems, your ears must have been burned, and we were talking about the purple antivenom earlier. I need the purple one to go next to that one.
Yeah, I think he was laughing at the fact that I had the screen stuck on there for the entire time.
He's got to hook me up.
Steven's learning the fun part of hosting, having multiple people on, having a bunch of chat comments, and having pages that you're refreshing and tracking all at the same time.
Yeah.
It's fun, huh?
You look like Doctor Strange doing.
Well,
Orange.
I
Hey, guys,
honestly,
is
I do
this gonna end
look
at
like Doctor
140?
Strange. Say that again.
Is this going to end at 140? The Blues?
I don't
Nah,
think so.
someone will
5
come in
seconds
at the
left?
very end. They got their
Well, do
eBay
they-
snipe bot running, I'm sure.
I like
Do
to
they
think
even need
like
to have another bid right now for it to extend, or will it extend automatically right now?
We'll find out in 30 seconds.
here's a question. This is a random one. I doubt many of you know the answer
This
to.
ends at 140. That feels like a disappointment. I'm not
Here's
gonna
my
lie.
Yeah,
question.
for sure.
First of all, it's at 168 with buyer's premium. Let's be honest there, right? So wow.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm just
yeah.
saying, like, if bidding
Well,
stopped.
no, it's at 140 because that's what I call it. If it ends there.
okay, right. Here's a question. Like, do you think a lot of sports players, NBA sports players, that I think a lot of them probably like their good old Marvel movies here and there. Do you think a lot of them are interested, by this kind of stuff?
I don't know. I know some of them collect their own cards. Giannis Antetokounmpo has a large collection of his own stuff. There's rumors LeBron owns some high end. It ended 168 with buyer's premium. The blue is done at 140 or 168 with buyer's premium.
Oh my gosh.
Neo, it was at 140 with buyer's premium being 168.
Correct.
Yeah, but usually with their golden auctions, 168 would be the comp.
I'm just kidding.
Oh, you're just trying to get your number because that's the number that you guessed?
Yeah.
So, I understand what you're doing. I got you. I'll pick up
Am I correct in thinking that so Golden made 28,000 on this sale? Is that all they make, or do they get more than that?
No, it depends because it's all negotiated.
This depends on the contract that was written.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, the fees are laid out a certain way on paper, but you can negotiate with, depending on how desirable your item is, you could get more of the buyer's premium than the written amount.
So the bidder knows that they bid 168. Okay? What we don't know is how much is going to the seller based on the contract that was written, like you were saying.
So now the question is, that
Yes.
ended at 168 with buyer's premium. The red is at 97,000 with buyer's premium. So that is already not that wide of a gap.
Yes, exactly. And I think the Reds.
We have a number. We have a hard number on the blue. It is locked in.
I think this is gonna be interesting because I think the Reds are gonna do pretty well. Now,
What's
let's
the
do a
grade
little
on the red Spidey?
It is a 9,
on
but the miles is only a 7. And as we were
Yeah.
talking in the IG chat, the miles, I think, is the card from this set, not the Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's see. I need that morphine drip. Yep, I do too.
And the other, going back to previous conversations we were having in the IG chat, the weird comparison here was we were talking about the Spider-Gwen. A blue Spider-Gwen PSA 8 ended tonight for just over 3K. The last comp on a red Spider-Gwen raw is like around 2-ish, 2,400. I think
Right.
one went at last. So that's not that far of a difference between the reds and the blues. So this could potentially declare that out, at least for 2017. Maybe it's different when you go back to 13 and 15. The gap is wider, but this, to me, this is like a benchmark now for reds versus blues, at least for 2017.
Red versus, that's a good title for a stream. Red versus blues. Now,
Okay, so there wasn't already a major YouTube Halo franchise builder on
Yeah,
that.
it was a Halo. That was a Halo thing.
I know. So Miles 9. What's your personal? Let's kind of really quick before the red gets a little interesting here. Okay, what's a Miles 9? What's the value of it? Where are we at? You think in the world in today?
On the blue? On the
Let's
blue?
start chipping away from that 168.
Is the blue a 9 or is it an 8? I can't.
It's a 9.
Oh, it is a 9.
It's a 9. Yeah.
I think it's a $20,000 card personally.
Right.
Do you?
I'd agree with that.
You think blue? Okay, you think blue's a 20 in today's market? You think blue came up on at 9 on
blue,
eBay?
A blue 9, yes.
Okay. I gotta fix this screen. Now there we go. So I'm gonna let's be nice and say 16. Okay, there we go. A 16 to 18. So we're at 150 just from subtracting out miles here. What about a Spider-Man 7 blue?
Is there any recent comps on a blue Spider-Man?
I was gonna
Justin,
say 7's tough.
Not that I've seen.
7 is raw to me. That's how I've been evaluating. PMG prices.
I'd agree with that.
I still think
13, 14.
I still think the Spider-Man's a soundbite that a lot of collectors are grasping onto, and they're going to bid on that thing on eBay. So I don't think it's, even in a 7, I think it's probably a 10, don't you?
Yeah, 15 is what I was thinking.
All right, that puts us at 140. So what about let's go Venom blue 8 and 8.
What are Reds doing? Like 4 to 5K?
Yeah, let's do 12 on Venom, 10 or 12.
You think it's well? I guess
That
'cause
seems
it's
high
an
to me.
It does.
Yeah, I
Okay,
think
8.
it's high. It won't go more than the 7 Spidey.
All right, 132. Okay, so then Wolverine.
We've seen that one recently sell, haven't we?
Yeah, one of those just sold for not very much. A few grand, I think it was.
Exactly.
Like-
There's a sharp fall off on this collection. So I think you hit some of the primary characters, and you're probably at about 90,000.
What's the Gwen in this? What grade's the Gwen?
Good question, Gwen. She's at 9.
So an 8 just did 3, like literally an hour ago.
Yeah, that
Right.
was an anomaly, but yeah, it did happen.
If that 9 isn't worth 5, I'd be surprised. I mean,
Yeah, I think it'd be 6 or
Yeah,
7.
I'm not gonna lie to you. If I knew that Gwen was gonna sell for 3 something, I would have bought it and sold the blue raw. I mean,
Yeah.
that to me
Yeah,
is just
for
too
sure.
cheap.
yep.
Point is, like, I think you have about 90 grand in a collection of kind of minor characters.
I mean, but look at it. You got Carnage. You got 2099. You got Scarlet Spider. You got. I mean.
Yeah,
Moon,
I mean, I
Moon
guess
Knight,
there are a
and
lot
there's
of
so
those
many
even
good
$1,000
characters in that
cards,
stuff.
these are A minus character, A minus list characters. I'm going to make that term up, right? Like they're
Yeah.
not quite A, but like
Yeah.
So, it's an interesting. It's just kind of an interesting thought exercise, like just to think
Well, I
about.
mean, the
Okay,
average card, if you do an average, was $3,360 a card.
yeah,
We just saw a Spidey Gwen sell for that.
Well,
which
all
is,
right.
to me,
Let's
a top
do
5
that.
character.
Do that same calc. Do that same calc like this. Do like Steven was doing, and take out those 3 big ones,
yeah. So you're at
and then do
130.
that same math.
You're at 130. Then divided by 5.
140, about 4.
How many
What,
cards
like
are in the set?
46
How many
cards.
So divided by 45. 130 divided by 45.
That's 20. It's called 2,900. 2888.
Mm-hmm. Some of these blues, that's pretty high, but some of them, I guess it's low.
But some of them it's low.
Yeah.
I mean,
So that average.
I mean, I think we
is
talked
probably
about it before. I don't remember if it was in the chat or on this live stream earlier. Like, how many of those characters matter out of that set? So, I mean, the front page, they all kind of. I don't even know if the Wolverine actually matters, to be honest.
I totally
Spider-Man
agree. And
does.
Daredevil as well.
I think it's the
Captain
Spider-Man, the Iron
America?
Man, the Cap, the Miles, the Gwen, and the Venom are your heavy hitters there.
Yeah, this cap is pretty sick. I mean, it's awesome.
yeah, I would
Yeah, that
say
Cap
Iron
is-
Man,
they've
Cap,
done some
Hulk, and
sick
Deadpool.
numbers on
Deadpool,
Cap
that is
recently,
good. I think
hasn't
that's one of the better looking Deadpools when it comes to PMGs.
Really?
I tell you, and it looks a lot better in hand. I've always kind of scoffed at this one until I got it in hand, and I was like, "Oh, that's a lot better than I anticipated."
Okay.
Hasn't that Cap sold recently for a lot?
Like, didn't they go for like 8K?
Well,
I was going to say something like that.
somebody bought it for pennies.
I don't remember the grade though. That's the only thing.
Right. It wasn't a 9. It was like an 8 or something.
I also Raw's the way to sell PMGs at the moment because of people looking to pay a premium. Yes, I totally agree with that. You know what? Like your hope goes a long way with the price that you perceive on a card to be valued. You know, like people are hoping it comes back and it comes back at 7 instead of a 9 or who knows what. Okay, where are we at with the Reds? Good question.
So circling back to that blue at 168 with buyer, let's just take the with buyer's premium number, not the you guessed right, Justin number. So what do we feel on that? Is that what we thought that was going to end at? Does that feel low? Does that feel high? Do we think it was going over 200?
I think it's low.
Yeah, I thought 180, so I mean it's not far off.
I think
But
I said 200 at the beginning, so
I think the 7 Spidey is what tanked it.
I think it seems about right.
You know,
Yeah, if that Spidey was a 9,
even an 8. Like this is look. Let's not mince words. This is a Reds up to 91. This is a success for the.
Oop! I didn't mean to. I meant to do this. Sorry.
This is a success for the seller, but See the 91 on the red just lost my train of thought. Why'd you have to blue PMG me here?
I'm so sorry.
He was all relaxed. He's like, I'm not on camera. I'm hidden by
Yeah,
the
I got
pop-up
comments
box.
in my face.
Oh, I know. Exactly. That's the thing. I felt bad you
Corner.
were hidden. You saw what I was trying to do. I'm so sorry. I'm the worst. Okay, here we go. Let's get you back to where you like to be. There you
What was I even saying?
You got
You
distracted.
were making a
Yeah,
really
yeah.
good. You
For
were
the
making a
seller.
really good point. How the Spidey at a 7.
Oh yeah,
It kind of gave it a flat tire a little bit.
right. This underperformed. You know, it didn't make it down the last furlong because of that 7 on the Spidey. If it's an
Threw
8,
a shoe.
we're 208 easily. If it's a 9, we're over 200. You know, we talk about, you know, Gwen and Venom and Miles, but you know, like you guys have been saying, for the people who are spending this money, Spider-Man's the name they know. Like we're in the know on Miles and all the other spec, and they might read the tea leaves, but Spider-Man's the one name that they know and they're going to draw to, and it's also the biggest card in the image. So that 7's staring you right in the face.
go. Not a rookie.
And it wasn't this specific one. Obviously, it was the earlier set that went for 132,000 or whatever. But again, it was a Spider-Man, so that's definitely the name you're looking at.
I mean, it's his 3rd appearance as a PMG. In sports, how does that affect it? Like, you know, do you have characters that are reoccurring, or sorry, characters? Do you have players that are reoccurring in a PMG, and how do they, you know, how does that work?
Well, there wasn't that many sets for PMG sports, and they're so rare. They're all super insanely high priced. I don't remember how many PMG sets there were for basketball, because basketball is the one that gets all the hype. I think it might have just been the one.
Started in what, like 96 or something?
Yeah, I think it's just the one. So there's not.
All right. Well, let's
equal
put our
comparison,
pre Kobe's death glasses on. You know, if he appeared in something or other, like if you know his later appearances in cards, were those still just as hot as ever?
Sports cards gets weird because it's the rookie year that matters. That's what drives everything. And then, you know, other than like autos and rare stuff like that. So any premier player, if it's a super rare card like an auto or a game used auto patch from the rookie year is always going to carry all the water. That's one where all the value is going to be. And then the other stuff, it just kind of depends.
Mm-hmm.
The first year will trump everything. Like a first year LeBron RPA exquisite, one sold last gold, and I think it was like 2.5 million or whatever. Like a 5th year LeBron exquisite, if such a thing existed, it would be, you know, a couple 100,000. It would still sell for a lot, but it's not doing 2.3 million.
I just don't think people are buying this whole set for 150 grand just to get Spider-Man. You can replace this Spider-Man with your own Spider-Man. That's, you know, get an 8 or 9 in there, and it's just as easy to do that.
Well, the blue Spider-Man here, I'm looking at the pop report. There's a total of 7 blue Spider-Mans graded. 3 out of 7, 2 out of 8, 2 out of 9, no 10s. So there's 4 graded higher and 2 others that also are graded as 7.
So this probably, I don't know who this would be a good question for, but just in general. So obviously a lot of these PMGs were in forever homes prior to everything going crazy. And those people probably never had any interest in grading them. Do you think that changes? Even if they're looking to hold on to the card and not sell it, do you think they're more willing to grade it now?
I would. I mean, Spidey and I have talked about this. Even if it's just for, you know, keeping it protected and insurance purposes and whatever else you want to do it for, I would slab it.
I think collectors that become investors do it out of opportunity and lack of necessity, or not. But I mean, like I'm saying, people with the means, that people with a lot that don't need to sell it, and it's in their personal collection, they're not going to grade it because they're not going to sell it.
So there's been a bit of a stigma for like historical collectors grading their cards. Like, you know, that you are not supposed to grade comic cards.
It's your PC. Why would you grade it? That thing, right?
Yeah, and so you know, a lot of these bigger collections are with, you know, really special cards in them are not graded because of that stigma, and I think you're going to just see that completely to go away over time with education, being part of it, seeing these sales and what the premium, having something graded gives it. The way it's, it's viewed more as a kind of a showpiece when it's graded as compared to raw. I think people will grade their cards more and more in the future, especially if the price continues to come down.
Well, that's the thing. As Stephen was saying, it's your PC. Why would you grade it? Well, because 10 years ago, it was your PC, and that card was worth $5. You're not going to grade it.
Yeah,
But when it's worth 20 grand, you're going to grade it.
you should.
Yeah, just from an aspect of your kid or dog getting a hold of it or whatever. You know what I mean?
My hope is that people are wise in the next year. Some old timer collectors that are sitting on a lot of good cards that need to be moved. I really hope they are wise with their choices and see beyond just the not it's not called FOMO, but there needs to be another term for hoarding kind of things that you've had for a long time, and you kind of find your identity in the objects that you own to some degree. Like you're like, well, I've owned it, and everybody knows I have this card, so I don't want to get rid of it because I lose my status maybe in the community, or I might lose my status in the just in my circles as far as like collector circles, like, and you really need to you need to. There's always going to be more cards that come out, and they're going to be awesome. You know what I mean? And like they're gonna jump up in value too. At some
Stephen, I think you make a really excellent point. Is that we're not living in a world where we only have the cards that are behind us. There's a lot of cards in front of us too, and
Yes.
part of selling gives you the capital that you need to gain that collateral of the new cards and the new sets that are coming out. And we don't know. Your favorite set all time may be the next one that's released. You don't know
exactly.
Right? And so if you don't have some capacity and willingness to move cards, you're going to end up hurting yourself financially. Some people have infinite amounts of resources.
Yeah.
But, I think
Think of how many cases of cards you could buy for half the price of a big card you own. You know what I mean? Jeez.
I will tell you, I've had the thought of, okay, selling this gets me cards for this many more weeks or months or years. That thought.
90. We're at 91. We're at $110,000 for the red. 110. We are really crouching on that blue price. That is amazing. You think? I mean, geez, 100. Well, the other one was 168. Is that what it was?
With a buyer with a premium, yeah.
Man.
Yeah, the 110 is what the buyer premium on the red.
I know, yes, true. But
yeah,
the other one, the 168 with the buyer's premium.
I've got to study this. It's got to be grade driven. It's getting to the point where it can't just be just.
There's a lot to be said for what we were talking about earlier in chat about the eye appeal of the red. I mean, that makes a lot of sense. It's a color match for Deadpool. It's a color match for. Both are a color match for Spider-Man and
Black Widow, Spider-Man, Miles Morales,
Captain
Iron
America.
Man. Yeah,
color match for Miles, color match for Iron Man, color match for lesser character
Right.
Daredevil.
Let me ask this question. Obviously we have data right in front of us with this auction, but if you owned a full red set and someone brought a full graded blue set, let's say it's exact grades across the character, across board, how much more would you pay to get into the blue?
I'll tell you as soon as extended bidding ends on the red.
I see. I don't go along with this same multiplier that we're seeing today, because I would absolutely pay up for it because of the ease of what I could replace the reds with versus what I could.
Yeah.
How easy is it to replace the blue?
You could start chipping away at this and getting an all 8, all 9 set. With blues, that's going to be almost impossible to do.
Yeah, I think that was whoever the buyer was got a good deal on the blues. I'll just say that. Do
you think so there are limited number of people that are willing to spend the amounts of money that we're seeing to some degree, like I don't know how many we speculate are out there that are interested in throwing 10 grand at a Marvel card, but and I think even some people in this room aren't that, like that's hard. So my question is, when it comes down to it, is a limited of 50 versus a limited of 100 when there's 20,000 people that are interested in owning those cards, does that really matter? 100 to 50? I don't think it does at all. I think you're basically just picking a color that appeals to you, and And a lot of the factors go into just being able to replace the cards and chip away at making them better. And not only that, but like think about the future sets, the future PMGs. Like red's a really safe color to go for to get red sets and a lot of future sets as well.
I don't know. Green's my favorite color, man.
Yeah, I agree. And there was no blue in the X-Men metal, right? I just realized that.
No, red and green.
So
Yeah,
another interesting take on what you were just saying in regards to the people plopping down this kind of money. It could also be that you're running out of buyers at this price point. The people that have these now have attained them over the last couple months, and the amount of people that are in the buyer pool to drop 200,000 on a set of Marvel cards every time a set or stuff goes off the market, they have theirs, so they don't need it anymore. So that's one.
Well, they have the key characters for sure.
Let's talk about tax season. So it's February. How do these the annual trends typically track in February? No, last year being an exception, possibly, right? February last year was just a feeding frenzy of people buying.
I don't know that the people buying at this level care about tax season.
Right.
Well, maybe on
They're
eBay
paying taxes.
eBay auctions.
They're not receiving taxes.
Yeah, and
it's not like they're getting their tax return to run on the eBay.
Their tax season's in October because you're talking about corporations.
Pensions and right.
These people have very complex taxes typically, and where if you're talking about refunds and money that's used from a refund, that's February, March.
Right. That's not.
I'm talking about average Joe.
No. The people buying this is not getting a refund. So that's
for the people buying maybe an individual Spider-Gwen red or a Venom or whatever.
That under $5,000.
Yeah, what we're seeing here, this huge sale, sure, it's for whales, but at the same time, this is predicated upon a lot of individual eBay sales over the past 6 months, and the growth of those eBay sales and other sales. And the question is, in February,
Reds just hit 100,000.
Oh my gosh! I hate how you have to keep hitting refresh.
I know, me too.
Oh my gosh, 120, bingo. So the question is, just in general, like, is February a lucrative time of year for people to be purchasing, or are there does it surge again in summer for sports cards, like in the sports cards markets and other types of markets? What are the ebb and flows that happen annually? Because I'm sure they're there if you track them.
I'll tell you one thing that I know for sure, because I did this for a couple of years, a long time ago, was electronics, and those tax refunds. All the TVs were on sale, and then we were blowing them out, the big screen TVs and all that stuff in February when people started getting all that tax money, and then April came around. There was the electronics store was crickets.
Yeah, part of that too is February is always big on TVs for
Super Bowl and whatnot.
Super Bowl drives a lot of that.
Well, I think another thing to think about is weather. I mean, when people are more trapped inside, they're stuck on their phone, they're looking to shop, they're watching these videos, they're getting hyped, and then they make a purchase.
A lot of the sports card stuff too is based on the seasonality of the individual sports seasons.
And Marvel's 12 months out of the year. It doesn't stop.
I like Swami's point here. In winter, I love Pokemon comparisons, right? I think we're all quite intrigued with, it's kind of, I don't think we have a lot of, I mean, I'm sure maybe some of you are big Pokemon people, but I'm not. And I'm always intrigued to see the overlap between Pokemon success and Marvel success. So it is interesting to think that winter is usually bad in Pokemon, if this is true. Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
But once again, I also think that's on like individual card sales, not a $200,000 set.
That's true, but
correct.
Yeah, this will not be Golden's biggest auction in February for Marvel cards. There'll be another auction coming towards the end of the month. That's going to be a pop culture auction, I believe. And you'll see, I think, quite more of a variety, which is going to be really interesting for the hobby.
Interesting.
100,000, 120,000 with buyer's premium. This is really okay. Remind me.
Are there any recent comps on Spider-Man Reds, like in various PSA grades? Do you know, Justin? or anybody?
I know privately that I moved one 3 weeks ago for $2,000 raw.
Oh, you mean Spider-Man Red? This particular card?
Yeah,
You
because
mean?
that's a 9. So like you know, to the point earlier that the Spider-Man is driving the set values by chance. You know, that's a 9 versus the 7 on the blue. Does it swing
Right.
it that much?
I think,
I don't know.
frankly, just about any, say, top 10 character outside of this, let's not include the Spider-Mans. If you have a PSA 9, I think you have a $4,000 card plus. If you look at the Spider-Man, I mean, gosh, it's so hard for me to say 10 or 12,000. There's one on eBay, I think, right now for like 20,000 that hasn't sold. So it's definitely not in that realm.
Exactly.
You know, you you look at that Spider-Man there, and a PSA 9 sold for 72 now, well over a month ago. You know, there might be some people thinking that that card should be closer to where that one is. Not quite the 2013, realm, but closer to it.
This is a lot of 9s in this set. You got Hulk, Wolverine. You got
What did that one go for?
Iron Man. This
Like
peanuts.
87.
Peanuts.
Yeah.
Compared to what we're looking at right now.
That was also when 2 months ago. Yeah,
Yeah,
that was December
November
1st.
10th,
That was
yeah.
a different. That was a different. That might as well have been 5 years ago.
I know. That's what I'm saying. It's like dog years, Marvel time.
All right, well, we got this set, the ungraded for 75, yeah, in January 8th. That's less than a month ago. Still, though, it's interesting comparisons because this is
But even a month ago in Marvel card time is a lot because really January is when it's gone.
Yeah.
It started in December, but January is when it's gotten the most.
yeah.
A Blue Moon Knight Raw sold today for 4,700.
I traded a Blue Moon Knight to Merle. Oh, that's awesome. I love it.
One Nick Fury Red. Oh, that's why my phone's beeping. I got some I got reminders. No.
So obviously these sales happen before the end of this auction, but what do you think this auction does in terms of informing the market and what people might pay for the singles that are listed on eBay?
That gets a little weird just because of the whole singles versus set aspect of this, I think.
Yeah. I mean, like, I think I have 27 reds out of the 50. Like, and I'm sure I'm not the only one who has, a significant, portion of the set. Do they look at this and go, okay, 120,000, 100,000. I'm already into the red, say 5,000. I could spend another 20 and complete it, and maybe make 60,000, 70,000.
Yeah, it just gets weird because if it's like a certain card that pops up that someone really needs and 2 people go to the mat for it, it's going to jack the price, higher than what it might normally seem like it should end at, especially, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the
Like
raw,
me and Justin have to have the Daredevil red to finish our sets, and
Right.
we're going to war for it because we have to have it.
Unless you silk, we know Silk Collector has stacked quite a bit of the silks, duplicates of the same color of PMG, and all of a
So like
sudden,
a certain percentage is off the market.
yeah, it all of a sudden that one sells for a lot of money, and we don't know why. It's going to look like an anomaly, but
Because they don't pop up as
Completely
often. So
sells.
the people still hunting for that character are going to the mat.
Red
Exactly.
Mystique 2013 ended just a few minutes ago for 1,200 raw.
well, a raw Nick Fury 17 red just sold for over $3,000.
that's okay. That's crazy. So here's another thing. When's the last time we've seen a really top character green PMG from 2017 auction?
I don't know, but I don't look at the greens very often because I know that I can't even afford them.
The last one I can remember is
When mine comes from
Hulk.
back from PSA, I'll let you know.
Yeah. I can't
Well,
wait.
We went over the combined 275 that I mentioned. So
Getting there a weird way.
Yeah, right.
my Sinister Six is officially up for sale right now.
What do you have, the blues or the red?
I have blue, red, bronze pattern and base.
Hey, Steven, can you pull Bill's camera up?
Yep. Sorry, my bad.
Oh, that's what you had on the screen. I couldn't tell what it was because the box is so small.
My bad. Here we go. I'm on it. I'm on it. I'm on it. I can do this. I can do this. I can do this.
Look at that.
So you're going to move all of them, or are you going to keep one for the?
No, I'm gonna try to move it all as one lot.
Oh, interesting.
Are you
That's
trying
fun.
to pay your house off?
That's really
That,
fun.
is that next month's Golden? Is this like an auction preview?
No. This is I made the decision right now. I'd like to do a private sale, clean.
Ah, gotcha.
That's fun.
Interesting.
That's fantastic.
That's a cool
Sinister.
set.
I hope you
Really
get
cool
66 for it. 66 for the Sinister Six.
Hey, in the blue.
Hey, there's your first offer, Bill.
I'm sorry. No, I got to retract that. Now,
The patterns are just out of control.
the patterns are out of control. Okay.
Anything EPAC achievement right now is getting a ton of burn, regardless
Oh,
of
so
set.
I got the grade back on my Wolverine Black today. It came back
9?
at PSA 8.
Oh,
Wow.
My black did not do well
Is it
either.
a high black or a low black?
High Series Wolverine.
High
I was
series.
bidding on a raw that on eBay, and I got outbid a couple weeks or like a week ago.
Guys, am I
The
tripping?
Black
Where's-
High Series Wolverine. What did it go for?
300.
Oh, that's too cheap.
It's way too cheap.
I think it was 300.
There's less than 50 of those.
I would say closer to 25.
Yeah, I think it was like around 30 something when I did the math, but still, like that's another case of it's not on the card, so it doesn't matter to people outside of Marvel nerds.
All right, I'm gonna make here's my theory.
255, January 14th.
I have a theory. So when the green Hulk
Not in this
sold,
auction.
when the green Hulk sold, I remember it was on Justin's stream. I had mentioned in the comments that I thought it was because of an MCU likeness to that Hulk. He looked like a classic MCU Hulk. Previous versions look really comic-y and kind of different. And my theory on that Nick Fury that just sold is that I do think there are a lot of sellers out there that look for those MCU tie-ins. And this Nick Fury does look like a real dude. He looks like a real guy.
Right.
And I think a lot of people like that. I think a lot of people like MCU tie-ins with the look and the art.
I think the Hulk went high because it was a color match.
Well, that's true too. But I'm talking about Nick Fury is in regards to like that one being still selling for 3,000. Why would that sell for 3,000? Who?
Sketchiness.
Flipping Steve. How many sketchy? How many bids were on that auction?
I'm gonna pull it up now.
Okay, pull it up. Yeah.
Oh,
Man, I
see.
can't believe that Moon Knight, 4,600 or something.
I'm gonna pull it up too. Here we go.
Oh.
What was it called? Red Nick.
Bidding looks legit.
Oh, I see. Flippin' Steve. Craven's dead. That's where he is in my Sinister Six.
You can buy this one right now for $1,000. Buy it now. What are we talking about here? This is crazy.
There's one that I'm looking at it right now. February 5th, 20 bids, $3,000. Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it just sold.
That's
Yeah.
sus as hell.
Go up to advanced on the right and then put in Fury and hit sold. It'll come up.
Sorry, I'm not as
Here, I can link to it in the private chat.
Please do.
Here you go.
No, you
Wait, so we have a buy now at $9.98 and
Yeah, and one sold at bids for $3,000.
and then we have a blue for $749.
Yeah, that red sale is super suspect. Unless it's in like absolutely pristine condition, but even that is insane, and it's not.
From what I've been observing of the sales is that a lot of people are not looking at condition when they're buying these raw cards. I can tell you that.
Yeah, I could see 2 white corners without even.
I
zooming
saw
in.
that there was a Spider Gwen last week that was chipped to hell, and people were bidding all over for it.
Is one of them listed like in the Philippines or something? And maybe because I was talking to somebody and we were looking at an auction that was I think it was in the Philippines or China, and they were saying that maybe that eBay only showed that one overseas.
There's a red SGC 85 sitting for $1,000.
Okay, this is what I don't. This happened last week. We all saw it happen. It happened on 2 cards. It happened on Nova 2013, and it happened on who was the other one?
No, the red's not Philippines or anything. It's just a straight regular card.
There was another 2013 last week where
It's
this
that
exact
same
thing
seller
happened.
too. It's that Spider-Man superhero guy from Medina, so he has 8 trillion positive feedback. It's not like.
But what is this? Why does this happen? Where like you get this happened again 3 times last week with 2 cards from 2013.
Because that person has a max bid in at 3,000, but nobody else bid until the last minute. Somebody put that in and made the auto bid come in and went over top of his set bid that he had.
Right. So he slammed in $3,000. He slammed in $5,000. That's what you're saying.
I mean, you know, yeah, you don't know what the final bid was, but it went over the top. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the eBay sniper software at work there.
Yeah.
But
King
once again, it
Golden's
makes no
going-
sense
King
because there's
Golden's live with urgent. Hey, by the way, King Golden's live, and it says urgent breaking news in the sports collectible market. I don't know what it is. I'll see if I can read the chats.
Okay.
Harden to Philly. Is that what it's saying? No, somebody's making crap up.
I got Twitter up. I'd see that if it happened. But yeah, that sale is 100% not
This is
real.
suspect. This is.
I mean, I'm just gonna straight say it's not real. There's literally a buy it now sitting for 1,000, and there's a SGC 85 at 1,000.
Right.
Of course, and let's see
There's
who
no
owns
way
this.
a Raw goes for 3,000.
And who owns this card? Spider-Man Superhero, the
Yep.
featurette, the eBay featurette account of the night.
That's
I'm
funny.
telling you, he literally owns every Marvel card.
Everyone.
Every time I look at a card, I'm like, oh, I'd really like that, and I click on it, and it's that seller.
He's
He's
your best
usually
friend,
priced
man.
kinda
He lives
high.
in Ohio. You guys need to be going to lunch.
Dude, you
We
should
should
just
mess
go to
with
his
him.
seller profile and look for stuff for sale and see what he has.
You gotta work the ground game in your collecting, Neo. There's a ground game, and you gotta go schmooze.
He has 8,000 items sold. Holy smokes! He has a blue Spider-Man, Blue Miles, 35,000.
I mentioned today, like that Miles card, that card last year, there was so much, like I was swatting them away. They were everywhere, and I'm like, yeah, I'll get to you later. All right, I know you're beautiful. I'm gonna get to you later, Miles. I'll buy you in a second. Let me buy these other cards first.
He has 7,000 items listed, and I am pretty sure they are all
And that
Marvel.
that Miles card is now just unobtainium. And I'm like, I lost it.
This is his highest priced card. He has a green Emma Frost from 2013 for 35K. Blue Miles. Blue Miss Marvel.
I really want to see this price go up.
2016 Masterpieces Orange set, I think.
Is it 1 through 3? I think I've seen that listing.
2016 Marvel Masterpieces Orange 90 card set, low serial number. With
He's got
9.
even those tier 4s in there. He's got all the way to 90.
It says, I'm not familiar with 2016 Marvel Masterpieces. He's asking 30K on that one.
Yeah, if it's 1 to 90, then it's all 4 tiers.
I love talking about jambalayas. But yeah, that is interesting. There
There's a
hasn't
green
been a lot.
lizard from 2017 for 25K. That's a sick looking card.
There hasn't been a lot of high jambalayas.
Hey, for what it's worth, Ken just said that the auction tonight broke 150 records in sports cards.
Say that again.
He said that 150 different records were broken for sports cards tonight.
They're like the Guinness Book of World Records, though. They make them for everything.
For what it's worth.
Right.
This is the
Most
highest priced 2019 Patrick Mahomes and a PSA 7.5 that is ever sold at market.
The most cards
In
of
February.
one color in
Yeah,
one listing.
in
ever sold.
February on an even day of the month.
Right.
Hey,
So
speaking of Mahomes, real quick, Neo, we didn't really have a Mahomes dip from what I've seen because that red and yellow rookie that I have just sold for $25.50 and it was $2,100 before that game that they lost.
Yeah, I mentioned that in my video. I already recorded my video, or I posted my video for tomorrow already, and I talk about Mahomes. His silver and hollow are only down like 3% over the last 7 to 14 days.
Yeah.
But I think that's more of, which I talked about in the video, I think that's more about just people aren't selling right now. So you're only going to get, it's limited supply on the market because you basically have to wait out an auction. Because anyone
Right.
listing a bin is putting it high, probably.
Yep. All the bins moved up to like $3,000 when they were.
Yeah. So you're just waiting for an auction to come through, and since it's restricted supply, I think it's going to keep prices up.
Yeah.
Or it'll cause it not to plummet. I think it maybe like you see a very slight downward trend, like a couple percent, like each month or whatever.
Yeah, I agree with Steve. It does have some condition issues, but
it also doesn't explain the SGC 8.5 because there's an SGC 8.5 sitting at a K too. If you're concerned about like the card being super beat up.
Oh, the Nick Fury.
Yeah, there's an SGC 8.5 for the same price as that raw one.
I don't know what's going on with that. I don't know how. There are a lot of noobs at eBay. I can tell you that. And
get the tinfoil hats out, boys. Assemble the brigade.
It makes me sick. Do you think if I posted this card as a gold Spider-Man PMG, I'd do pretty well? Like, would this get me $100,000 if I just kind of did a buy it now auction? I think it might.
I would put it as a bronze to be more realistic and it'll stuff.
It's true. It's true. You can't oversell it, right?
Put Spider-Man bronze put Spider-Man PMG ? Bronze ? Gold ? E-Pack achievement ?
PSA 10 ?
Comp to PSA 10.
Comp to PSA. That's my favorite.
eBay 1 of 1. You gotta get all the keyword searches in there.
eBay 101, right?
Comp C Monopoly.
Right, ComC Monopoly. I saw that the other day on one of my cards. I've got a ComC Monopoly.
So do we all agree that logically this should end at 100,000 to be in alignment with kind of most of our estimates with it, the comparison between red and blue? But if this gets bumped again, we're all going to be like, huh?
I don't know. I really don't know. I think the demand for the red is higher.
You think the demand for the red is higher? I like.
What did Steve say about SGC?
Oh, he said, sorry. It does. SGC isn't moving. Trust me. I have SGC PMGs, and people prefer raw for some reason.
SGC is about as liquid as maple syrup in Canada.
Yeah, I'd rather send it to SGC than the eBay authenticators.
Unless it's vintage, SGC does not move. At least on the sports card side of things, and you're seeing it on Marvel stuff now too. Steve talks flipping Steve because we have multiple Steves here. Talks about this all the time. You don't want slab competition if you're grading with SGC. You want to grade things that there is not PSA stuff available. Because the second you have slab competition, you're toast.
Yeah, man.
That is the one good thing though, is everything's like a pop 1 or a pop 2 though in Marvel.
For now, because now everyone and their sisters
right.
super express and everything.
Can I selfish question? My 2013 red Wolverine at auction on eBay. What do you think I'm pulling on that right now? And it looks really chipper. Not chipper. I meant like chipper good, not chipper bad.
The PMGs, they look chipper.
It looks crisp.
Where
do you think that one's ending?
Probably like a 900 or 1,000.
Red Wolverine 2013.
Oh, I thought you said 2017.
No, 2013.
My fault. A lot.
Do you think it's going to get 10?
I mean, heck, the Vibranium got almost 3, right?
The Vibranium's out of
that
50. I don't know that the numbering matters there that much.
I'm just wondering.
I'm just saying, what'd the Vibranium do? It shouldn't be.
I'd say around 8 to 10
on Steve's card,
depending on condition.
Nice.
Which card is that?
Red 2013 Wolverine.
Oh wow! What is this raw?
It's raw, but I'm gonna get it graded here. But I just wanted to know, like, if
I don't think one has a red Wolverine sold in forever. I feel like I haven't seen one of those pop up in forever.
No, I bought the last one. I bought it in October for $2,000. This is it.
I would. I mean, I know you're not looking to sell it necessarily right now, but Yeah, not
That's
without
solid.
having a comp recently is kind of risky.
I'm mostly interested as a thought experiment with red. I'm just wondering like where we're at with these old 2013s as well. Like,
I also don't know that does the red blue thing apply going backwards? I don't know that it does. I think that would be tricky to say that because these two sets sold potentially close together that would apply to 2013 and 2015, specifically 2013.
The best data we have is a $72,000 red PSA 9 sale, and we have a $132,000
Blue.
BGS 9 blue, and it's
Right.
almost the multiplier.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
But that doesn't mean things aren't changing. But that's just the most recent.
I mean, like I said, this happens in sports cards all the time. There'll be something that is higher numbered that gets a bigger premium than the thing that is lower numbered, and it baffles people all the time. And it's just simple supply and demand. Just because there's less supply doesn't mean there's more demand.
There's also just average budget on that mental budget of what you want to spend on a card. Like.
I just think people get hung up on the numbering a lot, and they don't factor in the demands. They're like, well, there's less of them. It has to go for more. Well, you need the buyers.
There's something else that could be at play here, where the other buyer for the blue who was bidding against said, "Hey, I got 130 to spend, and that's it, or 150, whatever the number was." They lose that, and they say, "You know what? I'm willing to come back here and back into the red. Yeah, I'm going to pay a bit of a premium, but at least I'm going to walk away with a full set tonight."
That's assuming they were one of the original bidders on the red.
Yeah, because you have to keep bidding to keep going and extend it.
Yeah, if you didn't put a previous bid in, you can't work an extended bidding.
Well,
so unless they've been in it this entire time.
So you
could have been in at 5K and bid an extended bidding.
That's what I'm saying. You can't just create an opportunity by bidding early, so that if you do want to back into it, you can.
Right.
I don't know. I've never bid on anything in Golden Auction. So
I don't think any of us have, or will we.
No, I've been on PWCC ones before, and the way that it works is if you haven't bidded, if you did not place a bid in the last round of extended, you're done.
Fascinating.
I didn't know that.
That seems like a missed opportunity.
I'm pretty sure that's the way it works. I could be wrong because I haven't been on a lot of PWCC auctions, but
I've been trying to move my SGC 9.5 Marvel Metal Deadpool, but it's been Marvel Metal is. You're talking about X-Men Metal? I think he probably is, right?
Or Planet Metal, like which metal are you talking about?
Yeah, is he talking about 95 Marvel Metal, or is he talking about 2020 X-Men Metal?
I mean, technically, there's a Deadpool Metal in 2013 and 2015 and 2017.
There's a lot of Deadpool medals.
A lot of Deadpool medals.
Flippin' Steve, I like these two characters. This is a good question. We have that upcoming film, Multiverse of Madness, which can make or break this character of Doctor Strange, if you ask me.
And Scarlet Witch.
And Scarlet Witch, yes. PSA 8's, I think, current value on both. I'd say Doctor Strange is slightly less, but I just bought a Scarlet Witch for $2,400, and everybody in the world knows that. And
I don't think Cumberbatch can screw up Doctor Strange at this point. Scarlet Witch, I don't know.
It's like we're waiting for that Thor Ragnarok moment, right? Thor was pretty boring in those three films. Then all of a sudden, Thor Ragnarok came out, and all of a sudden, he had a lot of charisma, and his character really hit that. It bloomed. It blossomed into something bigger than Chris Hemsworth and that weird kind of Shakespearean thing he was doing in the first few films. And then we have in Doctor Strange, you could easily say that he has lacked a little bit of dynamicism in the films. And I think in this film,
say that word again.
I know. And I was hoping you weren't going to call me out on that.
And defined it, if you don't mind.
I think he's going to find the character in this film. That's my hope. I hope Benedict Cumberbatch finds the character because he has been playing him pretty stiff, really safe so far. I
think this red set's going to end here. That's my prediction.
All right, let's do
it. Honestly, it should. Based upon
because it also starts to come in that the people bidding on this, are they looking at this and being like, well, shit, the blue went for 168. Why would I spend more on that? I'm done.
Right. That would be my logic.
That at some point is going to weigh in, even if the demand is more for the red. At some point, someone's going to look at that and be like, well,
Yeah, the neighbor's house sold for this, and I'm not paying more for it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Well, or there's two spurned bidders on that blue that didn't get what they wanted, and now they're looking to duke it out on here. You don't know.
Yeah, but like we said earlier, that's imperative that they were already bidding on the red.
That's true.
I think I think that's a possibility. I mean, if somebody's bidding on that blue, they're probably throwing a bid on these reds too.
I don't like that corner.
You get that kind of scratch.
There's a hair here. Daredevil has a hair right on him. Look at that silver hair. Somebody's working with a silver dew over there. Flippin' Steve, call me. Let's talk about your Doctor Strange. I want that card, by the way.
Fly to Atlanta.
I like the the MCU has really breathed a whole lot of coolness into the name Steve. Like we were kind of on the fence. We were kind of on the ropes there for a while. Steve being a lame name. Then we got Steve Rogers, and we got.
Come on, you started with Steve McQueen. How can you go wrong there?
That's true. Well, yeah.
Is it Steven or Steve?
I'm Steven, but I go by Steve by some people. But I prefer Steven.
Pick a lane, my friend.
Pick a lane, yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. We got Bill, Billy, William.
Well, it's like that Starbucks meme where the girl asks for his name and the guy says it's Steven with a PH. And so you see on the cup it's written PHTEVEN.
You got 1 minute left. Here we go. I did turn down a 10K offer for my Wolverine.
Bill.
Steven.
Honestly, I don't even know how to say my own name. Like my mom's British, and I'm like, is it Stephen with a f? Am I a f? I don't even know.
Stephen Curry.
I have a raw and PSA. All right, Flippin'. We know you have a lot of cards. Let's talk about it. Let's I have some good cards now too. Let's do something about it. Let's find a deal.
So Josh said something about you turning down a 10K offer on your Wolvie.
Yeah, we were at a small local show, and there was a local yokel that wanted it for 10K. I said not for sale.
Did you have it in the display case?
Oh, I had. Yeah, we were trying to. We were trying to do our part. You guys are always saying go to the shows and show what you got and get everybody, increase awareness, and that's what we were doing. And there was a lot of people interested in what we were showing. Everybody there. I didn't have anything for sale.
Did that thing finish?
Here we go.
Supposedly, but I always like to give it the 30 seconds until it's official because I've seen this thing jump before.
Bidding is closed, but here we go.
I think Nia stopped bidding. That's how you knew.
That's a nice number for that set, I think. 120,000. Yep. We made it, guys. We did it. There's an actual end.
Mine's laggy. Mine still shows 3 minutes, but mine's behind or something.
I think we got, we're at 157. We're going to end this right at 2 hours. Okay. So 3 minutes. Any final thoughts?
Marvel cards, baby.
Yeah, that's a good
Gosh, right?
So what is that? Like a 0.7 multiplier on a red versus blue?
Yeah. That's crazy.
I think that makes
for 70%, right? 120 to 170. That's what, 70%?
Not quite.
Right where I said it would be. Boom.
Yeah, it's done. 120.
Yeah.
Do y'all trust that multiplier moving forward?
I mean, that kind of goes in line with it's a one-off sale. It goes in line with the Gwen that sold earlier. I'd have to look at a bunch of other stuff.
Right.
I still can't believe that private Gwen sale, that purple. That was way cheap.
That Gwen, the blue Gwen was an outlier for sure.
But the purple, dude, that purple Gwen is the prettiest card I think I've ever seen.
That card was gorgeous. It's basically like a color match, or as close as you
can. The pink and the purple is just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Personally, I don't like that they made that sale public, but that's just me.
Why?
It wasn't auctioned. It wasn't offered for sale to other people. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like the gold mediated, though? Is that what the deal was? Because they reported it, so I assume they were involved.
Yeah. That's for other people to say, not me. But
I'm sure there are people out there that would have paid more than 18 for that. Sorry, Nia.
I was gonna say, was that supposed to be like upcoming for an auction and someone bought it before it hit the block, or do we not know?
Well, I'm
Don't
not.
get
I'm
yourself
not
in
at
trouble,
liberty to
Justin.
say. Yeah, I'm not gonna get myself in trouble.
Wait, so what did you say, Neo? You said 1.7.
0.7.
0.7.
It sold for 70% of the blue, right?
120 to 170.
Well, so I mean, it would be a 1.4 multiplier.
Yeah, I was just talking percentages, but yeah, that sounds right. Yeah.
I think if we think of, okay, if we had a green set, what do you think the green set would sell at? I just don't think it's like I think there's a limit, a mental limit to what people want to spend on one card, on a group of cards, and I don't think even a green set's pulling much over 2.
Oh no, a green set would blow past
yeah.
two.
A green set should sell for north of $1 million if it has the right cards and the right grades.
Correct.
So I actually think if you brought this Spidey in the red down to an 8, then this sells for 105. And then if you brought the blue Spidey up to an 8, that sells for 185.
I think you're
That's
thinking about it
that much on a third year Spider-Man.
Yeah, you're thinking about it too granularly, because like we know all of the individuals, but I don't think the average person that's buying this set, their set is a card. They're treating this entire purchase as a card. Like, this is just a number for a set that happened in a year, and I don't think they're like really doing a lot of individual cost analysis on the whole thing, right? I mean, doesn't that kind of go more in alignment with the type of whales we're talking about here?
It depends on the buyer.
I would disagree with that.
Really? I just think if we're all in agreement
I would disagree with that.
That the blue set might have fallen short of your expectations because of the flat tire. So why can't the same be said for the Spider-Man bumping this up on the red?
I will tell you.
I don't necessarily agree that the Spider-Man grade is driving the set price on a third year Spider-Man.
2017, I don't think so.
But I also agree with Justin in regards to someone absolutely sat down and comped all this out and knows exactly what 100%. They have it down probably to a science. Like, there's a spreadsheet somewhere with all these sitting in it and all the various price points that they've ended at in these grades and grades similar to it and raw. Someone ran a hardcore cost analysis on this.
Well, I'm sure someone did, but I don't think that's everybody.
And they're also saying this card, and this card, and their belief in the future is going to be worth what they pay for the whole set. Now, I'm not saying that's what's going to happen. I'm just telling you there's some belief in that, and that is driving some of the sales prices.
I just don't think there's a lot of. I don't think everybody's an educated buyer. And I think there's a lot of people just interested in investing in this as a whole. And I think even if you look at the 5 of us, the way we approach how we buy things is a lot different from each other. So you have to, if you added, added a 0 to our bank accounts or 3 zeros to our bank accounts, depending on where we're at, I still think we're who we are and we'd buy this for the reasons we want. And it's like, for me, I would not have done that cost analysis. I would have been like, yeah, I want this set. I want the whole Reds 2017. I like the way they look. I think it's going to go up. I'm buying it. Done.
I will tell you the difference from what I experienced from buyer to buyer is there are certainly some people who are buying this only to make money with zero emotional attachment to any character, anything.
100%.
And they're doing it strictly from their potential and cost analysis and what they think it's going to be worth in the future or what they can do with it. There's more to it. But
so, like, I'm a tech industry nerd, right? And I know people that, a lot of engineers that are sitting on multi-millions of dollars and they love this kind of stuff. And they're in the same boat we are. They used to collect this stuff in the 90s. And I do think that they have more money to throw this stuff than, I don't think there's only one type of buyer is my point. And I think there's a lot of people just experimenting with entering this market. And I call it a market only because a lot of people in this room call it a market, but I think it's a lot of just a collectible. It's a collectible, like.
I mean, I have nothing to back this up other than just my general thought. I have a feeling most of the PMG sales in the last month were probably bought out of money purposes, like as in I am going to sell this for a profit, than it was that I'm going to set this on the shelf for the next 10 years.
I agree.
1,000% agree.
Really?
Yes.
And,
And that
just
is my
because
overall
just because it's
concern.
golden? Is it just because it's golden?
No, I'm
No,
just
he's not
talking
talking about gold,
PMGs,
he's any
period.
of them.
Like eBay
Right.
sales, whatever. Just any old PMG that sold in the month of January, from January 1st until today. I bet you a large majority of them were bought strictly for I'm going to make money on this.
Yeah, there's quite a few people who own Marvel cards who are uttering the words golden, and 12 months ago they were not uttering those words ever.
Agreed.
Which is also my general concern, like to circle back to something we were talking about earlier in regards to how would PMGs come down because those buyers now leave the market. If the money is not, the second it is not profitable anymore, a large segment of buyers will leave the buyer pool. And then what happens?
You don't think people just buy these and set them in their binders, or not their binders, but in their vaults, and just want to wait 20 years?
No. People view this
I don't
stuff
think
as
so.
sweet. I bought it. It went up 50% in the last 3 weeks. I'm moving it.
Really?
There's going to
Yeah,
be
you're-
a few special
Okay.
cards that people might vault for a period of time, and I'm sorry for the noise. I think one thing that can change some of this, to Neo's point about the money running out, is the fractionalization of some of these cards, where you will have lower entry points to still have ownership in it, and it keeps the money in the asset or in the collectible. But I don't know how that future is going to play out.
Fractionals on the sports card side, I don't think have done really well in general. Certain key cards have, but globally speaking, I think a lot of people lost their ass on that stuff.
Yeah, I haven't
Because they were
played in that space.
fractionalizing cards that shouldn't have been fractionalized, like more
Right.
upper mid-tier stuff, not like, super elite, like Mickey Mantles and stuff like, you know what I mean? Like the ultra high end.
Right.
I mean, maybe we should end this, but $120,000 isn't what $120,000 used to be even 3 years ago. It's not. It's actually a lot less of a number than even 2 years ago. Like it's there's just a lot of big markets, crypto markets, large markets that have changed a lot of things.
Hey, crypto's starting to make a comeback, baby.
Inflation,
I'm watching it.
inflation.
Not
I mean,
Facebook. Not Facebook.
My Ethereum got over $3,000 yesterday today.
yeah, there's just a lot of people with a lot of cash.
Justin, is there do you know of any recent comps on the same blue and red, like 2013? Same grade, same card, whether it's raw or graded?
I like this question.
Or 2015?
Well, so you mean any character, any
Same
grade?
character, same color, same year.
Not that's coming up top of my brain at 12
Okay.
o'clock at night.
I just didn't know something like immediately like, has there been a Black Widow red
I'm
and blue
sure.
that sold
I
from
mean-
2015, or you know what I mean?
I'm sure there has. I just can't think of
Yeah,
one.
I'd just be curious to see, is there a similar multiplier of that one say, let's just call it 1.5 to keep the math
Yeah,
simple.
so I would tell you that the red 2015, again, sorry for the noise, the red 2015s are definitely feel like stronger sales than the blue 2015s. And I was looking through those because I had to price my red Black Widow that I sold for $3,000. I couldn't find where, other than a few odd sales, where the blues were doing tremendously better. Like the Captain America did a lot better blue, so forth and so on. But
Yeah,
that
color
one-
match, so that's kind of an outlier.
That same one that you showed last week as one of your favorite cards from 2015. Is that the one?
that's right.
Oh man, I love that card. $3,000, huh?
Yeah, I mean, that'll be the interesting thing to watch going forward now as blues come up, comping them to a red of the same year. Does it run in line with a 1.5? Is that the multiplier? Roughly, very generally speaking, there's always going to be wiggle room there.
See, where I was saying with the number thing, as the blues get purchased and dry up and become harder and harder to find, but yet you can find reds still. I think that's where that blue premium starts to
Dwindle.
widen the gap.
I think that's really true, especially with your special characters, as they, if they truly do go into some sort of collection or full sets where people are not going to remove them from the full set unless the whole set sells, which I think you will see more and more of, especially when you see auctions like this. Then you'll see those cards start to creep up in value quite a bit.
I mean, to bring in like a sports card comparison here, like a Hyper Prism in a PSA 10. These are non-numbered, but still, they're extremely tough grades. Extremely tough grades. They're like pop 15, 20 on a player. Will sell for less than their Silver Prism, which there might be a couple thousand of.
And why is that?
Demand.
Like why is the demand higher?
Because silver gets the pump. That's all everyone talks about is the silver.
Right, because that's the more attainable. It's more in everybody's pockets, right? It's more people talking about it because more people have it.
Yeah. So I would say it in reverse. Because more people have it, the more people talk about it, and then that feeds into itself.
I mean, people talk about hypers all the time and how they're low pop. Just nobody cares because it's just people don't. They just want the silver. That's the one that everyone wants.
Is it?
Yeah, but we need the why.
Are the golds unobtainium? Is that why? Are they just too hard to get?
No, it's just because that's the one that everyone gets. That's one that everyone talks about. All the content creators talk about it. It's what's
you're not giving us a reason why. Like, why are they? Why the chicken and the egg?
I would love to give you a reason if I don't know. I'm just telling you, silver has become on the sports card side of things. Silver is that's the main card.
It's like the true base. It's like the true.
I agree with that. Yeah, it's like the base because it's a little bit more.
But that outsells a card that is a fraction of the popular. Like I said, there's plenty of cards that there'll be hard numbered stuff that'll sell for less than a silver in some cases, not always. Or there'll be stuff like a Trae Young red out of 299, hard numbered will sell for 3,000 to 4,000, which is more than his numbered stuff out of 150 goes for. That's because
there's a few examples of that in Marvel cards. One would be the tier 4 base of Marvel masterpieces will outsell somewhat. Historically the what ifs. All the what ifs are making a really large push right now. But then you have, say, I'll do cross card types. If you have a red foil gallery Spider-Man out of 25 doesn't do nearly as well as a red PMG out of 99, even though it's drastically a lot fewer of them. But that's good. But overall, that's going to be, I think, quite a bit an adjustment for Marvel card collectors who are used to just the fact if a card's more rare, then it's worth more. Period.
I think in the Marvel card side of it, though, that's the difference, is because once more people come into the hobby and actually get more educated about the cards and the sets and those type of things, I think that disparity is going to lessen. So, like right now, when you and I are hunting for cards, I'm not really hunting for a PMG. I just bought a Gold Gallery Spider-Man. I just bought a couple different cards. They weren't PMGs. I didn't get the red. I got it's not that one. I got the 2018, the gold.
Oh, no. Put it back up there.
I got the Bianchi gold. The Bianchi gold. I don't have that one. That's awesome, Bill. But yeah, as more, but the average person coming in that's just buying PMGs, they don't know what that card is. They have no clue.
I know, but I just think about how there's only 25 of those.
Right.
Still, like the Miles Molten out of 299 is out selling that card right now.
Yeah, people do get bored of them. When $1 million question. Let's say that 2022 is the year of Marvel cards. What's the month you want to move your any cards you want to move? When should you move them this year? $1 million question.
Atlanta, Culture Con, be there.
I think it depends on your entry point, because I've said this in our group chat. You don't want to be the one left holding the hot potato. So if you've got a margin already, then get out, move on to the next one.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer of your hobbies should pay for your hobbies. You know what I mean?
I'm only doing this because of Bill's show and tell.
Okay, here we go. I'm getting better at this. Here we go.
Oh, platinum portrait action.
Magneto.
Yeah, get like a black book behind it. That's usually
I know.
You know, I
So
got.
that's a
I got-
perfect example. What does that sell for? What are those, about $500?
I
How
know,
much?
I can price those relatively. I do feel like I have a pulse on the pricing of those.
And what are there, about 30 to 40 of those, maybe?
30 tops.
Okay. So that sells for way less than a Magneto Red PMG.
Oh yeah.
Yes, but for now it does. But we'll see. I can show mine.
There you go, Wolverine.
Yeah,
Heavy
this
hitters.
one is actually on my move list. I want to move it. I don't know why. I just need to. I don't know why. But my question, but there's a lot of great cards, but
Yeah. By the way, that card
I
is
sold
that
the only
is that
platinum
X23?
portrait that I have. I had a beast, and I sold.
oh, you got X23 too. We're doing the whole set. Do we have a set among us?
Well, so that's something I wanted to ask
I
you
only have
guys.
2.
We were talking about the MCU earlier. That's awesome, Bill.
Mhm.
We were talking about the
Well,
MCU
I mean,
earlier, X-Men.
A little Planet Metal action.
There you go. Oh,
There we go.
nice,
Got the gold.
Nice.
nice.
Like
But in
that.
the MCU, when are we going to see a grown-up X23? That will be phenomenal.
At minimum
They got a
5 years out.
whole lot of other stuff they got to get through
Minimum
first.
5 years.
Where does Spidey? We
Yeah,
lost
Lee.
Spidey.
Can you imagine the
Better
hype
right now.
around that?
Say that again. I missed the question. I'm sorry. I was
When
distracted.
do
by
we
the
see
fact that-
live action X23 at an older age?
That would be epic.
It'll be a while.
I-
because
The
they
hype
still
around
have a
that.
whole-
I'd guess Disney Plus. That's what I would guess on that franchise. On that
She might be too violent for Disney.
Yeah.
Disney Plus Plus, Disney Plus X, Disney X,
Disney After Dark.
Disney After Dark. I don't know. I don't know. Like, yeah, the portraits. Like, I'm glad you brought up portraits. Those are like, you know, I'm thinking about it. Like, okay, when's the time to move some of those, especially with Spider-Man metal? Those are going to help. You know, this is a whole different conversation. We could talk about this for hours. We should probably start circling back. But yeah, again, the question stands. Like, you know, when do you think is a good time to move some cards this year? Again, to maybe maximize some profits and also to get more money to buy some, you know, Spider-Man metal when it comes out. You know.
The last weekend in February.
Atlanta.
So first Spider-Man metal platinum portrait to hit resale market. 10K, right?
I bet you. All right, let's assume the PMGs look good. Let's just run under the assumption that they look like 2017 and not X-Men metal.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
But they're not.
I
They're
bet
gonna.
you a red Spider-Man would outsell a platinum portrait out of the gate.
Oh, sure.
Wait, are you thinking they're actually going to revamp the metals? You don't think they're just?
I
Gonna
don't know. I really don't know. There's been rumor and speculation that maybe that they improve the
I think it's
PMG-ness.
hope more than anything.
Yeah, I think you might be, even if they're not fixed, even if it's the same as X-Men, because I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Probably a red high series Wolverine probably outsells the platinum portrait, right?
No,
No.
Wolverine Plat's
Oh, okay.
$3,000.
Yeah.
The what? I'm sorry.
The Wolverine Platinum Portrait's $3,000.
Oh, okay. What's the red going for? Like 1,000?
Yeah,
For the low series, like 600.
Yeah, I was speaking high series because the high series has a good artwork.
Which is funny with the PMGs, high versus low. I mean, it's artwork is the only difference, but it shouldn't really the difference and the disparity in prices shouldn't be there. They're numbered the same. Now, when you're talking about like the blacks and the redemptions, it's different because they were harder to get high series cards versus low series cards in the packs.
the whole
Yeah, I think
series.
that just comes back to the demand side, though.
The whole series
That
is-
Wolverine looks in the high series is like one of the most iconic Wolverine artworks
Agreed.
ever.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And that whole series is its own little ecosystem of logic. The whole 2020 metal, X-Men metal, is its own. It has a lot of caveats in the whole thing as far as you know why it's successful in certain areas and why it's not in others. And
I don't think there's any way Upper Deck lets the PMG thing happen like they did with X-Men.
I almost wonder if that's why it keeps getting delayed. I mean, I'm sure there's other issues just
It's
because of 2022, but
it's the Olympics in China and them being where we get 80% of our paper from, and them shutting down production to reduce pollution during the Olympics.
yeah, I don't think it has to do with they're not making some
well,
new
are the
metal
Olympics in
recipe.
Japan or are they in China?
They're in China.
I thought they were in Japan
Beijing.
for some reason.
Beijing.
I don't.
Oh,
maybe
yeah, that's right.
This is a really tight window. I mean, you know.
I know I've been watching curling all day.
and it's
Damn
been like a 7-8 month build up to their shutdown, and to the point where like even the industry I work in, my day job, there's things that raw materials that we get that are processed in China that's where 95% of the world, like magnesium, gets their from China, and it causes a lot of pollution, and they seem to care about that for this time around with the Olympics, even though there's no people in attendance.
Just for optics, so when they do the sky shot, it doesn't look like Smog Central.
Right. I'm sure there's a little bit of why not stick it to the rest of the world while we're at it, but
fingers crossed. But March 30th looks like a pretty solid date. I mean, there's more than one place saying that's the date.
Yeah, but I feel like we've heard that before.
Are you guys so how many of you are all of you having tables at the cultural
I'm potentially stealing some space from Steve.
Justin and I have 2. We're together.
Are you pack muling any people's? Are you going to showcase other people's cards, or just trying to jam your cases with your own? Are you going to do any consignments?
I mean, I don't know. I'd talk to Justin, but I don't know why we would be against that if we have the space, obviously.
Okay, we should talk. Maybe that'd be interesting. Because I definitely would. Yeah, I mean, I'd definitely give a cut on any sales, certainly.
Yeah.
Especially a lot of people will consign stuff if you have something big because it draws eyeballs to the table, even if it's not your card.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I know I could make room in my case for your Platinum Portrait Wolverine that might go home with me.
Yeah. I got Deadpool too. I got the 3 I wanted from that, and I love them. But
they're a nice car. I pulled a beast and I sold it right away, but they were nice to have in hand.
I just got to pull back and get some money back, I think. So that's where I'm at. Yeah,
I'm on that same boat. I got to get ready for March 30th. I mean, I've already got my cases pre-ordered and stuff, but then how long is it till EPAC? Like 3 months?
A while.
Yeah, it's 60 to 100 days on average. I know it's a big window, but that's just going by all the other sets and their time between 2 releases.
Right.
Yeah. I've seen you let go some stuff recently. Like, how do you go through that mental process of like, I'm getting rid of this. I loved it at one point, but it's time to let it go. Is it all just about the value profit, or is it also kind of just do you start evaluating like what you acquired based on interest and what you acquired based on, I don't know.
It's usually is there something else that I want to go get? Because usually the way that I balance things are, am I better? Is the card that I'm into, say I got into a card for 1,000 and say it's at 2,000 now, whether it's sports or Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
And then is that card, what do I have a better option on that getting the 3,000? Is it sitting on that card and waiting for it to go to 3,000, or is it selling it for 2,000 and buying something else that's undervalued that could jump quicker to the $3,000 number or whatever numbers you want to put in place?
Right.
That's usually my general thought process. And if I don't see something that I want to move into, then I'll just sit on it, you know what I mean, and let it ride. Stuff that I really want to collect, usually when I buy CGC slabs, I'm not buying those to flip. So it's a little bit of a different math equation there. I'm usually selling something. It'll be like, okay, let me pare down some of my risk on the sports card side and stick it in a Hulk 181 because I know the floor on Hulk 181 is super high compared to a Luka Doncic rookie.
Right. So anything you move, you try to think about ping-ponging it into a better investment. Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes it's just, hey, I want to have a little cash on hand right now, or the fun money pile got a little too low. I keep a slush fund basically of, this money is set aside for impulse purchases, or if something pops up at a really good deal that I could just move on it and not have to worry about, I don't like buying on credit, especially this sort of stuff. I only pay cash. I won't charge anything like this. So I like to have, even if it's just a couple $1,000 just sitting in a PayPal account, ready to go buy something stupid. If a deal pops
I've never
up
experienced that before. I the second I have that number, it's just gone. It's just
and then if I snowball it, then if that I usually throw a certain amount of money in there every month. And then if it builds to a certain point, that's when I start looking at maybe it's time to pull this trigger on something bigger.
Yeah.
Like I ran it up, and then I was like, okay, you know what? I'm at the point now where I can pull the trigger on a Hulk 181, so let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of ever evolving. And then when that runs down, sometimes I'll sell something just to kind of build that back up again. Plus, on the sports card side, it's a little bit of like, okay, this team looks like they're going to get eliminated from the playoffs.
Right.
Sports cards is much more about I could sell it and buy it back and get back into it later.
It's
like
probably even increased frequency in exchanging hands, right?
Correct. Like I've bought and sold the same card multiple times over the last 2 years easily. Like,
and I think Marvel, like, we're afraid to let anything go because it's like that might be the last time I touch that card.
Yep.
Yeah, it just depends on what it is. And even the most rare stuff, unless it's like truly like, maybe a green PMG is a different story, but like, you're going to be able to find a red PMG of a character that you want at some point in time in your life again.
I'm going to run an exercise tomorrow on my Sunday. I'm going to go through my collection and look at it. And what was that one Japanese woman on Netflix who had that, the series of like, does this bring me joy? That,
spark joy.
Yeah. Does this spark joy? Yes or no?
Yeah. I mean, there's times. So, like, I have my entire collection of sports cards and comics. My comics are tracked in GPA, and then my sports cards are in Market Movers.
Yeah.
I'll pull it up and sort by value, and I'll just scroll through the list, and I'll be like, okay, I could sell this right now and buy this thing over here that I've really been thinking about for a while. And do I really care about these 3 cards that total $2,000 more than I care about this thing over there that I keep eyeballing? But perfect example, Harrison Ford Han Solo Star Wars Stellar Signature sold 2 days ago on
I looked at it. I was watching it. I'm right there with you.
At 1,600. I think I went in up to 1,700 on it. And that whole day I spent looking around of like, because my fun money pile's low because I just bought a Gwen Red. And I'm like, okay, what can I sell to make this back to cover this? And I was flipping through the case and going through the spreadsheet going, okay, what can I get rid of here? Because this feels like a deal. And if I had the money on hand, I would have went harder on that. I think it went for just over 2K, and to me that feels.
There's still one. I think there's still 1 or 2 on there too.
Yeah, but they're real high. They went like 5-6K for him.
All right. There's a green Mando as well. That purple Mando we saw. But anyway.
Yeah, what is the green Mando at? Like 1,800 or something?
Yeah, honestly,
but it's overseas, I think. So I worry about the shipping on that.
Okay, yeah. I do too now.
This is the way.
This is the way.
Yeah.
I have been looking at Star Wars cards. You know which card? It was elusive. His posts with his black refractor poster cards.
I mostly just look at actor auto stuff. Like I really want the one thing that's on my list that I could easily sell something right now and buy it, which I probably should.
He's going to say Rosario Dawson.
Rosario Dawson, Ahsoka.
Star Wars Stellar Signature. I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah, they're like $1,200, $1,300, just depending on the day.
What about you guys? Are you looking to sell anything in reason? Like, what's your strategies this year? Maybe you don't want to divulge them. I'm sorry if I'm asking too personal collecting questions, but
I'm going to move a few things because I do. I've spent a lot of money recently, so I'm definitely looking to recoup some funds. That's coming for sure. I mean, again, and this is one of those things we've talked about. Like, you sell the stuff to buy the stuff you really want. So, that's why I overpaid for this because I really wanted one of these. I haven't had one, but that's who I collect, and that's so. Will I sell a Daredevil Vibranium? Yeah, I might. So, that's the kind of stuff. Like, you get something that's actually pricey that isn't like one of your main characters that you collect, then absolutely move it and get that money to get into what you really want to get into.
Plus, it lowers your cost basis. I mean, if you really want to think of it this way, say you're into a random red PMG for 500, and you're into a blue PMG of a random character for 1,000. So you're into it for 1,500 total. But you could sell those two combined right now for, let's just say, at 8K. Then you use that 8K to buy something you truly want. You really only spent 1,500 on that.
Right. Yep. 100%.
So my cards right now, it's probably 75-25 in investments to PC.
Mm-hmm.
My goal is by the end of the year to flip that, to have 75% of the cards that I'm holding be forever cards, and then kind of just create this revolving door where I have a better sense. I'm looking down the road.
Well, the trifecta is there, the bank account that's somewhat full as well. That's what you're saying. So You know,
Well, like
Bill, your problem is there's not that many high evolutionary cards out there.
I mean, that is the problem because the everyone that left that I'm missing and they're all 1-on-1s. It's printing plates and parallels, original artwork, but no. So Steven, in my case right now, my bank account is that 75% of cards. Like that's really how I plan to move those cards strategically and with some of them, because obviously there's not that much high evolutionary that I'll need to buy. But I have a channel where I open boxes, and so I need to fund that. And 90% of the stuff that I open in my boxes is not PC, or probably even more than that, because just because of the way I collect and what I collect, and it's reckless. I know it; it's a waste of money, but I have the means in inventory to support that and continue to be reckless.
Yeah, it brings you joy.
Yeah.
And you get the ABR.
And it's good content.
It is good content. It is good content. It is. Last question. No, I got to go to bed. Culture Collision. Do cards need to be graded to move them?
No, not for PMGs anyway.
We're
We're talking Marvel, not for PMGs.
I'm talking Marvel, yeah.
No.
And I'll be curious to see what is actually hot on the Marvel side by the time we get there. Because right now it's PMGs and Vibraniums and the EPAC stuff. But I don't know how many people still know about all the EPAC stuff.
There is a premium if it's graded, if it has a good grade, especially. But you don't. It doesn't have to be graded to move it.
Yeah.
At a decent price.
Okay.
Yeah, especially with grading becoming more accessible now as PSA is lowering their prices, people are on the hunt for raw stuff because that's the best way to build your bankroll. Like prior to all the grading shenanigans and price hikes, one of the best ways to build your bankroll in cards was raw to grade.
Yeah, that's what caused the PSA backlog.
Yeah.
Right. There's a premium in not knowing.
Right.
Yeah, it's the great unknown.
It's like that Family Guy with you could have the boat, or you could have what's in the box. Oh, it could be anything in the box. It could be a boat.
Right.
Yeah.
I saw that. I saw that meme. It was a PMG meme though. It was a meme with the 2015 retro box.
15 box. But the same could be said for grading. Like you could have a PSA 7 and a raw card, and it's like could be anything when I grade it. Yeah, it could be a 7.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with what you're saying. It's a little more nuanced than that because you can, depending on how good you are at self-evaluating a card.
Right.
There's some built-in skill level there, but generally speaking, yeah, it's. I always like to assume a grade lower than what I think it's going to go. For the most. I mean, on ultra modern sports, it's a little different story. You could assume a 10 a lot of cases, but like on this Marvel PMG stuff, it's super weird.
Especially 2017 PMGs. Like assume nothing. You have to be a real eagle eye to be confident. I have this Moon Knight that I thought all corners looked really good, and I showed it to Brian because obviously Brian has graded more 2017 PMGs than anybody, and he's like, "Nah, it's a 7 at best." I'm like, what? Like, and I've graded cards, so I know what to look for and stuff, but that's a whole other animal, and it's intimidating. So I wouldn't grade any 2017.
Ooh, what is that? I like that.
That goes in my back pocket at every show. So if I look at a raw card, boom, and I can magnifying glass.
Wow.
And look at corners. And just to give you a for instance, it happened this last week. I bought that Joe Burrow rookie. There was it was an SGC 9.5. And there was another guy at another table who wanted the same price for a raw one. And I looked at it with that, and I could see the corners, with my naked eye, and I'm blind anyway, whatever. But when I use that, I can see all the flaws on it, and it helps me to then make purchases too.
Sometimes I actually think we are more critical than the grading companies are.
Oh, for sure.
Do you think
I'm extremely picky about what I send, at least on sports cards. Marvel, like I sent my red Gwen that I got. I know that it's not a 9; it's an 8 at best. It might be a 7, but I don't care because I just want it slabbed. I don't want a PMG just in a 130 point, top loader or a card saver or a mag even. You know what I mean? I want it slabbed, so I didn't care.
Do you guys think the Cultural Collision is going to be an alley-oop in our Marvel interest to the National?
there's too big of a time gap between Culture Collision and the National.
Mm-hmm.
Those are
6
the big
months is
shows in
forever.
between. I mean,
Or 4 months. It'd be 4 months.
yeah.
That's forever in cards.
Well,
Yeah.
will it light the fire? Will the spark ignite?
I
I
mean,
think it would be more bleed into the next Dallas show, and then Dallas bleeds into the There's a Dallas show in between.
Mm.
Yeah.
If anything, it
There's
would
another
be,
big show in like May, I think, too. I forget where it is.
Isn't there a big Chicago show coming up too? The
Yeah, I
second
think
Chicago
that may be
show?
the one that I'm thinking of. It's in May.
That's a massive show. That's a big show too. That show's always regarded as being a very good show.
Almost the National, right?
Yeah, it's at the same event center.
Right.
All right.
So yeah, you have like at least I would say Dallas, that Chicago show. Actually, what it'll bleed into is the Vegas show, because that Vegas show got moved from early January to March. The Mint Collective and that other one that's at the Raiders place.
That's where I should go. That's not far at all.
Yeah, there's two. I think there's 2 Vegas shows in March. I could be wrong, but Dallas is the mini national, at least in reputation, not necessarily size.
Okay.
Is it
So-
monthly or quarterly? The Dallas
Quarterly.
show? It's quarterly.
you
Interesting.
guys coming to AC this year?
I'll be
am.
there.
July, baby.
I need to book my stuff, but
Everybody crash at Bill's.
You're picking me up at the airport.
I'm a terrible grader.
I don't know if they Spirit flies directly into Atlantic City. That's one of their hubs.
Spirit.
I'm gonna drive.
You said you're
Ooh,
in
I like
Ohio?
that. Spidey Jew. I like that.
What, Bill?
You're in Ohio, Neil?
It's like 7 hours.
Yeah, and 6 hours 40 minutes of that is Pennsylvania.
The PA, my least favorite road to drive on, the PA Turnpike.
I mean, Pennsylvania is just the widest piece of land.
Try
So-
living in the bottom tip of Florida. Anywhere I go, if I drive, when I get out of Florida, I'm not even halfway there.
To Justin's point there, I know a lot of sports cards collectors that have a 100-card PC collection, and anything not in that collection is expendable.
I love
On a
that.
case
That's a,
that has
that's a,
100
that's a
slots
nice
in it.
exercise. That's a nice way to keep
Yeah.
If it doesn't make the top 100, then it's used to upgrade the case.
That keeps
Yeah.
you on your toes. Keeps you on your toes.
Stuff will come in and out of the case depending on, and you can use whatever number you want it to. It could be 25 if you wanted it to be 25,
Right.
or 10 if you wanted it to be 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
All
have,
the
I have a friend that has
Everything else is built to make that case better, essentially.
Yeah, I have a friend that has a 1 through 100 Amazing Spider-Man collection comics, and he does the same thing, where he's just constantly swapping out to better grades on all of those books, and he's just creeping up his entire collection towards the best grades possible. Really fun. Love it.
You could do that exercise. Take your top. What are my top? Whatever number you feel comfortable with, because a lot of it, as we get older, it's just space. Because sometimes you just want the space. Sometimes you just don't want the clutter.
This pinball
Like-
machine's here because my other room has 8 of them in there. This is the bleed over pinball machine.
So you sit down, look at your collection, pull out the top 25 things, and then what does that leave you
Yeah.
with? You know
If
what I
you
mean?
think card-
How
comics
how
are
could
too
you
big.
use the things that didn't make the cut to make the top 25 better, or whatever? Like I said, cut the number off wherever you want.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good theory.
I love it.
You're not going to execute on it. It would, like you said, Steven, it would probably be a healthy exercise just to kind of see, like, put things in perspective of,
Yes, I feel like that's
do I
what
want
need
the
right
best 50 cards I can have, or do I want the best 100 cards that I can have?
now. I've been
Or-
like the Tasmanian devil with Marvel cards in the past 4 months. I'm telling you, I have made my hands are just going everywhere. I'm grabbing cards left and right. I'm like, well, I grabbed this. I must be good. And I'm just like, okay, holy, I got to slow down. It doesn't
yeah,
help.
I mean, figure out what you want, start selling some of the stuff that you don't before, you're always better to sell on the upswing and while it's hot. Selling sounds easy until it's not, when the market is not as hot as it once was and your stuff sits, and then all of a sudden it's, oh wait, this isn't moving quite as fast. Marvel is as liquid as it gets right now.
Yeah.
I have a fear of eBay auctions actually doing a classic auction as opposed to a buy it now. I'm more of a buy it now guy. I mean, as far as my listings go, and I'm always afraid that nobody's going to see my auction, or it's not going to catch fire.
I think in this market, I would not hesitate to run I would almost lean towards running a PMG at an auction.
Absolutely. I did the experiment. I had a green PMG that I put up for buy it now on eBay, and it didn't even get a peek. I put it at auction, and it went for just as much, if not more, than what I was expecting on my buy it now. Because it's one of those things where people get FOMO when they see people when you see an item that people want, there's bids, there's a bunch of bids. Oh, people really want that. But when it's a buy it now and it just says 0 bids and there's a couple watchers, people don't really want that.
That and you're up against the clock. You're
Right, that
forced
too.
to make a decision. On a bin,
Right.
you just sit and stare at it, like you were saying earlier, Steve, at the beginning of the stream. It just sits on that other monitor, and maybe I click on it, maybe I don't. Whereas an auction and the clock's ticking down, and you have to make a decision, and then, like he said, FOMO kicks in. The next thing you know, you're in bidding fever, and then it's like, oh shit, he outbid me. Well, I'll go $5 more to try to get the upper hand. So sometimes I think you're in a hot market when the thing that you have is what everyone wants. I would 100% run that thing at a 7-day auction.
Yep.
Let the gods decide.
Yep.
I got like 8 cards.
All right, boys, it's 1:15 for me.
Yeah, man, let's get that. I was going to ask you, how do you stop one of these things? I don't know how to stop this stream. This has been fun. Thanks for joining me. This was
They have a marvelous day for Justin.
Yeah, no, I'm going to let him comment it in. He's watching. Comment that and I'll post it. Yeah, this has been an impromptu on the Golden auction. This has been really fun. Nice little fireside conversation here about Marvel cards, baby, all that.
$288,000 changed hands tonight.
Oh yeah,
Just in 2 auctions.
I do want to end on. This is what I want to end on. I want to.
Yeah, put it back up. There you go. You gotta get Justin's comment off there.
All right,
That's how you on the stream.
I'm telling you, you got to get that stencil, Bill, up behind you. It says precious metal gems.
I know.
You gotta slide that white shelf off screen just a little bit.
Exactly. So good. So good.
right,
Thanks,
boys.
guys. See you guys later.
All right.
All right, later.
Bye.